The story opens with an aerial view of Nan City. Today is a special day for the graduating high school seniors, as they gather for the class awakening ceremony held directly in front of the enormous dimensional rift known as the Demon Abyss. Inside a school bus, the atmosphere is filled with tension. Every student is discussing the same topic, wondering what class they will awaken. Amid the anxious chatter, Jiang suddenly opens his eyes. He looks frightened and completely confused, as though he has just escaped a terrible nightmare. Looking around at the bus and recognizing his classmates, he lets out a sigh of relief. He realizes he has truly returned to the past. Jiang immediately recognizes the exact moment. It is graduation day, the day his class is heading to the Abyss Station to awaken their classes. After doing the calculations, he realizes he has traveled back exactly 2.5 years before the destruction of Nan City. 12 years earlier, mysterious dimensional rifts had appeared all over the world, unleashing monsters that mercilessly slaughtered humanity. People fought back with firearms and even nuclear weapons, only to discover that none of them worked inside the magical zones surrounding the rifts. Fortunately, after 5 years of relentless warfare, humanity discovered that anyone who reached the age of 18 could awaken a class by coming into contact with the rift's energy. Those who awakened gained unique innate abilities, finally giving mankind a real chance to fight back against the monsters. Over time, humanity secured the entrances to the rifts, and society transformed into a system where a person's status depended entirely on the class they awakened. Every graduate must now undergo the awakening ceremony. Classes are divided into 3 main categories: combat, support, and creation. Combat classes are highly respected, while creation classes are considered the least valuable and are looked down upon by almost everyone. Jiang remembers that in his previous life, he awakened a rank F creation class, the lowest possible rank. However, he possessed a hidden divine innate ability called Modify. By changing just a single word in the name of an item or skill, he could transform something worthless into an incredible treasure. Unfortunately, he revealed this secret in his previous life. As soon as the powerful factions learned about his ability, they summoned him and forced him to work exclusively for them. Without allowing him any rest, they made him convert ordinary junk into powerful divine artifacts for the benefit of the elite. Fearing his true potential, they placed him under constant surveillance and house arrest, preventing him from becoming stronger on his own. Everything came to an end when a level 96 dragon attacked the city. At that time, Jiang was only around level 70, and it appeared that someone had deliberately abandoned him to die. As death approached, he activated his divine ability one final time, changing the word resurrect into rebirth. That single modification allowed him to travel back in time while retaining all of his memories. A voice from the bus announces that they are approaching the Rift Station. The students prepare themselves to face the moment that will determine their futures. Jiang no longer cares who betrayed him in his previous life. This time, he intends to rely only on himself. As the bus passes through the infected zone and nears the terminal, Jiang silently vows never to reveal the true nature of his ability again. Keeping his power hidden is the only way to protect his friends, his family, and the entire city. With unwavering determination, he promises to grow stronger in secret until he possesses enough power to change everyone's fate. The students soon arrive at the headquarters of the Hunter Association, where the Awakening Plaza is located. Many students are terrified that they might awaken a useless rank F creation class. Despite their fears, everyone's attention remains fixed on Jiang. As the top student in both academics and martial arts, everyone expects him to awaken an extraordinary class. At that moment, Yang Hongwei, the class's eternal second-place student, walks over with his usual sarcastic remarks. He mocks Jiang, saying that even someone with exceptional magical affinity could still awaken a worthless class. The professor then calls Jiang to be the first participant, hoping that the school's star student will inspire confidence in everyone else. Jiang calmly walks up the stairs toward the center of the ceremony as every eye follows him. The ceremony's host loudly announces that it is now the turn of Nan High School's greatest genius. Standing on the central platform, Jiang remains completely calm, despite the overwhelming pressure. Unlike everyone else, who is anxiously waiting for the result, he already knows exactly what is about to happen. His classmates and even his professors silently pray that he won't awaken a creation class. Meanwhile, Yang Hongwei takes another opportunity to ridicule him, calling him a worthless nobody and hoping that he fails. Without showing the slightest emotion, Jiang places his hand on the crystal ball. Instantly, several glowing magic circles begin to form around him. A brilliant white light bursts from the crystal as the awakening reaches its final stage. The entire hall is illuminated while a powerful spiral of magical energy completely surrounds Jiang. Moments later, The giant display reveals his awakening result to everyone present. His class is Repairer. The screen confirms the details. Jiang possesses a perfect 100% magical affinity, yet his awakened class is a rank F creation class. In an instant, the school's greatest genius becomes the subject of everyone's ridicule. The professor is left speechless. He cannot believe that the most talented and hardworking student in the entire school has awakened such an ordinary creation class. However, not everyone is disappointed. Yang Hongwei bursts into laughter. He smugly declares that he always knew Jiang would end up as nothing more than a useless technician, regardless of his outstanding grades. You kept me behind for 3 years, Jiang, but look at you now. You awakened such a pathetic class. Yang shouts while mocking him in front of everyone. One of the instructors tries to comfort the crowd by pointing out that being a repairer isn't completely useless. At the very least, Jiang could open a repair shop and make a decent living fixing equipment for real warriors. Suddenly, the crystal ball shines once again with an intense blue glow. Jiang still has his hand resting on the crystal, and the awakening process clearly isn't over. The professor nearly falls from his chair in disbelief. The crystal is still reacting. He's awakening a second class. His voice echoes throughout the ceremony. Dual-class awakenings are incredibly rare, occurring only among individuals destined for greatness. Everyone begins expecting a miracle. Golden light and streams of magical data swirl violently around Jiang as the awakening continues. For a brief moment, it seems fate has truly decided to grant him another opportunity. Then reality crushes everyone's hopes. The holographic screen reveals his second class in enormous letters. Farmer. The final results display a perfect 100% magical affinity, along with 2 rank F creation classes, Repairer and Farmer. It is officially the most disappointing dual-class combination imaginable. The teachers don't know whether to laugh or cry. A dual-class awakening only happens once in every 10,000 people, yet Jiang somehow ends up with 2 of the weakest classes possible. The students burst into laughter. They sarcastically joke that the school's greatest genius is now only qualified to repair broken tools and grow vegetables. Without reacting to any of the insults, Jiang quietly steps down from the platform. Behind him, whispers and mocking comments spread through the crowd. What terrible luck. What a waste of talent. Even the teachers look at him with sympathy, unable to believe that such a brilliant student has fallen from the top to the bottom of society in a single moment. Jiang, however, couldn't care less. He calmly walks toward the exit with unwavering confidence while everyone stares at him with either pity or contempt. Trash, unlucky, Jiang thinks with a faint smile. They have no idea that his true strength has nothing to do with his awakened classes. His greatest gift is his innate divine ability, Modify. This extraordinary power allows him to alter a single word in the name of any item, skill, or ability, completely changing its effect. As soon as he leaves the ceremony, Jiang decides to test his power in this new timeline. He examines the farmer class. Its starting skill is Accelerate Growth, an ability meant only to help crops grow faster. For warriors, it is practically worthless. Using Modify, Jiang changes a single word. Accelerate Growth becomes Resurrect. In an instant, the useless farming skill transforms into a divine ability capable of reviving any target, including himself, and restoring all damage for only 100 mana. A satisfied smile appears on Jiang's face. He already understands that if used wisely, this ability will become the ultimate weapon against everyone laughing at him today. Later, while walking through the city, he notices enormous digital screens displaying the rankings of the strongest newly awakened rookies. His objective is crystal clear. He intends to climb to the very top of every ranking. With complete confidence, Jiang knows that one day those elite classes will learn the terrifying truth that even a mere rank F can stand above them all. His determined eyes reveal his ambition. In this life, he refuses to become anyone's tool. He will forge his own destiny and rise to become the strongest. Without wasting another moment, Jiang heads toward the rookie training base, where newly awakened warriors earn their first levels. The facility is filled with weak abyss monsters raised in captivity, allowing beginners to gain combat experience without facing overwhelming danger. But Jiang isn't there simply to train. He plans to shatter the base's speed-clearing record. Doing so will earn him enough points to secure admission into the country's most prestigious university. He approaches the entrance with complete confidence. He isn't there just to level up, he has come to prove that ranks and labels mean absolutely nothing. The instructor on duty checks Jiang's file and freezes in disbelief. Jiang, the school's top student, awakened 2 rank F classes, he mutters, unable to understand how such a thing happened. The officer seriously asks whether Jiang truly intends to enter the dungeon alone. Even the weakest dungeon can be fatal for a rank F if they aren't careful. Another instructor places a reassuring hand on Jiang's shoulder and advises him to form a party with his classmates instead of risking his life for no reason. Jiang doesn't hesitate. I'm completely certain. Please issue me the standard rookie equipment. The instructors exchange helpless glances. They assume the young man is acting out of wounded pride and wants to prove something impossible. One of them hands Jiang a basic iron sword. To Jiang's surprise, he also gives him an additional piece of starter equipment. Here's your gear, the officer says with genuine concern. Just try not to die in there. Jiang immediately notices the difference in how the instructors treat him. In his previous life, they had only given him a basic iron sword. This time, however, out of pure sympathy, they also hand him a pair of leather boots. The equipment is nothing special. The level 1 iron sword grants 5 points of attack power, while the level 1 leather boots provide a small increase in movement speed. Although the gear is basic, it is more than enough for his current needs. So, they really do pity me, Jiang thinks with a faint smile. He understands that the extra boots were given because everyone believes he has no future, but he has no intention of refusing free equipment that will help him grow stronger faster. With the sword resting on his shoulder, Jiang walks toward the dungeon portal. If those rabbits corner you, just call for help. We'll come rescue you. One of the guards shouts from the entrance. Without turning around, Jiang simply raises a hand in appreciation. He has far more important things to focus on than listening to warnings. The massive steel doors slam shut behind him with a loud thud, leaving him completely alone inside the dark training dungeon. Now, away from everyone's ridicule and pity, the real challenge begins. Jiang immediately activates his innate ability, Modify. Green streams of digital energy fill the air as reality itself begins to distort. His first target is the ordinary level 1 iron sword. With a single modification, it evolves into a steel sword, greatly increasing both its attack power and armor penetration. Next, he upgrades his leather boots into wind boots, dramatically boosting his speed and agility. I could easily transform this into a sacred sword or even a legendary weapon, Jiang thinks while admiring the polished blade. However, he quickly dismisses the idea. Surveillance cameras are installed throughout the training grounds. If his equipment suddenly became too extraordinary, it would immediately attract unwanted attention. He has already experienced the consequences of exposing his talent too early. Memories of betrayal and exploitation from his previous life remind him to remain cautious. For now, these modest upgrades are more than enough. The dungeon is divided into 3 sections. The beginner zone is designed for practice, followed by the advanced zone for stronger challengers. Deep within lies the boss area, reserved for those attempting to set new records. Anyone hoping to achieve the fastest clear must venture into the dangerous advanced zone where countless glowing red eyes watch from the shadows. The final objective is simple in theory but difficult in practice: defeat the Great Charge Rabbit King, the monster that rules the entire area. Before reaching the boss, Jiang must first eliminate the ordinary Charge Rabbits. These level 1 monsters possess crystal-reinforced skulls and an extremely aggressive nature. Jiang calmly prepares for battle. His first goal is to reach level 5 as quickly as possible. Based on his calculations, he will need to kill roughly 100 rabbits to achieve it. The monsters waste no time. Letting out shrill cries, the charged rabbits rush toward him with terrifying speed, lowering their crystal-covered heads as they launch a full-scale charge. Within moments, an entire wave of red-eyed rabbits floods the path ahead, throwing themselves at the lone intruder. Jiang's objective is clear. Only after reaching the required level can he leave this area and challenge the next hunting ground, the dangerous wolf clone base. The battle erupts instantly. One rabbit leaps forward, attempting to ram him head-on, but Jiang has already predicted its movement. To him, this dungeon is nothing more than the perfect place to gain levels at incredible speed. Moving like a streak of lightning, he slips effortlessly through the charging monsters. Every swing of his sword is clean and precise, while every dodge is perfectly timed. No ordinary rookie could even dream of matching his combat skills. His confidence comes from knowing what awaits him at level 10. Upon reaching that milestone, he will unlock his true awakened innate ability, a god-grade power capable, in theory, of creating the ultimate magical beasts. His determination is absolute. Nothing will stop him from becoming the strongest warrior of this new timeline. As he continues cutting through the monsters, Jiang briefly wonders how his old rival, Yang Hongwei, is doing. By now, Yang's awakening ceremony should already be underway. Back at the school, Yang finally steps onto the awakening platform. He approaches the crystal ball with a mixture of nervousness and arrogance. More than anything else, he wants a class superior to Jiang's rank F. Even a rank B or rank C class would be enough to prove that he has finally surpassed his lifelong rival. Suddenly, the crystal ball erupts with violent waves of magical energy. The entire hall is illuminated as everyone stares at the giant screen in anticipation. A single word appears. Berserker. The room falls silent. Yang has awakened to rank a combat class with an impressive 69% magical affinity. For any student, it is an outstanding result. Haha, I finally won. Yang shouts excitedly, celebrating as though he already rules the world. The other students stand frozen in disbelief. After spending 3 years living in Jiang's shadow, Yang has finally surpassed him with a vastly superior class. From today onward, nobody is allowed to call me second place ever again, Yang declares proudly as he straightens his tie. A smug smile spreads across his face. He knows the balance of power has completely shifted. In Class 1, there is only one true number one now, he says while pointing his thumb downward in contempt. And that's me, Yang Hongwei. His supporters quickly gather around him, showering him with praise and congratulations. What can that worthless dual-class loser do now? Challenge you? One of them mocks, causing the group to burst into laughter. Yang enjoys every second of the attention before looking around the hall with a grin. I wonder where that dual-class failure ran off to hide his embarrassment. One of Yang Hongwei's followers quickly tells him that Jiang headed toward the rookie training base only a few minutes earlier. A malicious grin spreads across Yang's face as the group immediately decides to follow him. That loser must be struggling by now. Let's go lend him a helping hand, one of them says with obvious sarcasm. As they leave, the remaining students watch with sympathy for Jiang. Everyone knows Yang has no intention of helping him. He simply wants to humiliate Jiang once again while taking advantage of his newfound superiority. One student recalls how Jiang used to stay in the classroom long after everyone else had gone home, studying late into the night. Another remembers seeing him train relentlessly on the running track until he was completely exhausted, pushing himself beyond his physical limits every single day. Even during magical training sessions, Jiang would always set the pain simulation to its highest level without uttering a single cry of pain. His determination was truly unmatched. It's unbelievable that someone who worked harder than anyone else ended up awakening the weakest rank F class imaginable. The bespectacled student says sadly. At that moment, Wang Qingfang, the student who had always ranked just behind Jiang, calmly speaks while enjoying a lollipop. His class won't determine how far he can go. His voice is calm but filled with absolute confidence. No one understands Jiang's relentless determination better than Wang Qingfang. I know better than anyone how desperately that guy works to achieve his goals. Respect and anticipation are clearly visible in his eyes. As Wang reflects on the past, memories from their first-year final examinations come flooding back. He remembers seeing Jiang bruised, exhausted, and covered in injuries during a fierce battle. Despite being on the verge of collapse, Jiang refused to give up and continued fighting with unwavering resolve. It was that moment that earned Jiang Wang, Qingfeng's deepest respect. If Yang Hongwei is looking for trouble, then I'll go there too, Wang says while finishing his lollipop. As he walks confidently through the school corridors, only one thought crosses his mind. The rival I acknowledge can only be defeated by me. Anyone who wants to lay a hand on him will have to get past me first. Meanwhile, deep inside the training dungeon, Jiang finally stops to catch his breath. His current body is still far too weak to keep up with the brutal pace he has forced upon it. He sits atop a mountain of defeated rabbit corpses. Gathering and eliminating over 100 monsters at once is still pushing this body beyond its limits, he mutters. Only one obstacle remains. Suddenly, a massive figure emerges before him. The Level 5 Charge Rabbit King. The enormous beast possesses a crystal-covered forehead and radiates overwhelming hostility. Jiang quickly checks his status. He is currently level 4, with 94% experience. Unfortunately, the intense battle has left him with serious internal injuries, and the pain threatens to slow his reactions at the worst possible moment. The Rabbit King wastes no time. Lowering its head, it channels tremendous energy into the giant orange crystal embedded in its forehead. Then it charges. The monster transforms into a blur of fur and destructive force, tearing across the battlefield while shattering the ground beneath its feet. Jiang immediately activates the power of his modified wind boots. Green streams of data surround his feet as his movement speed increases dramatically. He knows that taking the attack head-on would mean certain death. Fortunately, he already has the perfect strategy. The Rabbit King unleashes its special skill, Fire Headbutt. But Jiang has been waiting for exactly this moment. With a snap of his fingers, he activates Modify. The alteration is incredibly simple. He changes the word headbutt into detonation. Instead of striking him, the Rabbit King's own skill turns against itself. The crystal on its forehead shines brighter and brighter until, boom! A deafening explosion shakes the entire dungeon, filling the battlefield with smoke and flying debris. Moments later, Jiang calmly walks out of the smoke wearing a satisfied smile. That tiny modification was enough to defeat the boss instantly and push him to level 5. Outside the dungeon, a notification suddenly appears on the giant display screen. Everyone freezes. Jiang has just shattered the dungeon-clearing world record. The students stare at the screen in complete disbelief. Not only did he break the record, but he cut the previous best time by more than half, something considered impossible for someone with 2 rank F classes. Yang Hongwei clenches his fists in fury. This is impossible. He must have cheated, he shouts angrily. The shocking news spreads throughout the entire facility as people gather around the display, unable to understand how someone with supposedly worthless classes accomplished such an incredible feat. Yang folds his arms with a dark expression. He is determined to expose what he believes is a massive fraud. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the dungeon, Jiang sits peacefully, while a soft green aura surrounds his body. His modified, Resurrect, ability slowly heals all of his injuries. However, he knows the real challenge is still waiting. He remembers the Cyclone Wolf King all too well. In his previous life, that monster caused him endless trouble. Rising to his feet, Jiang tightens his grip on his sword. It's time to settle the score. With calm, steady steps, he walks deeper into the dungeon as though he were taking an ordinary stroll, completely unfazed by the deadly danger ahead. Soon, he arrives at the entrance to the Cyclone Wolf territory, a place many rookies call the Rookie Slaughterhouse. The wolves inhabiting this area range from level 6 to level 9, while their king has already reached level 10. For beginners, entering this zone is practically a death sentence. Stories of students being torn apart by these wolves are no exaggeration. Their strength is truly terrifying. Even so, the rewards are worth the risk. The experience gained here is so enormous that a skilled fighter could reach level 10 in a single run. Jiang focuses on his next objective. Reaching level 10 is where everything truly begins, as new innate abilities become available. For an ordinary student, achieving that milestone normally takes around 10 days, but Jiang doesn't have the luxury of waiting that long. Hidden among the rocky terrain, packs of wolves patiently stalk their next victim. More importantly, reaching level 10 will grant him an official permit to train alone in the open wilderness, a requirement that is essential for everything he plans to accomplish. As he approaches the entrance to the next training area, an instructor suddenly blocks his path. The man stares at Jiang in disbelief. He cannot understand why a single rookie would attempt to enter a zone that normally requires a full team of 6 people. Trying to discourage him, the instructor tells the story of a rank A genius who became permanently crippled after recklessly challenging this very dungeon alone. Looking at Jiang with complete disdain, he says that a mere rank F entering this place is no different from committing suicide. Jiang remains completely calm. "Thank you for the warning, but I've already made my decision," he replies politely. The instructor snorts in frustration before stepping aside. If that kid wants to throw his life away, that's his problem. Jiang pays no attention to the judgmental stares around him. Ignoring every skeptical voice, he walks straight into the dungeon. The moment he enters, several wolves emerge from the darkness with bared fangs, ready to tear him apart. Without hesitation, Jiang charges directly toward the pack. His sword flashes as he draws it. "It's been a while," he murmurs while preparing to test his skills once again. Watching from an observation platform, the instructor shakes his head. He believes he's witnessing nothing more than a reckless fool charging towards certain death. What an idiot! He actually thinks he's a genius, he scoffs. But the next moment completely shatters his expectations. Jiang effortlessly cuts through the wolves one after another. Every swing of his sword is clean, precise, and efficient. The experience points continue rising at an astonishing pace. The instructor's expression slowly changes. Cold sweat begins forming on his forehead. He can't understand how a rookie is calmly defeating wolves without using a single special skill. For the first time, a terrifying thought crosses his mind. What if this kid is actually a hidden genius? Time passes. Soon, the battlefield is covered with countless wolf corpses. Jiang sits silently atop the pile, his clothes stained with blood. The instructor is completely speechless. Now he is convinced that Jiang is a true monster. Remembering how he mocked him earlier, the man quietly slips away before Jiang notices him, hoping to avoid an embarrassing confrontation. Meanwhile, Jiang checks his status. He has reached level 9. Looking at the injuries covering his body, he sighs. "If I didn't have Resurrect, I would have died at least 10 times already." The description of his modified skill is unbelievably overpowered. Although it costs 100 mana, Resurrect completely restores his body even if he has already died. It is practically the ultimate cheat ability for surviving battle. Standing on the mountain of dead wolves, Jiang reflects on the difference between these beasts and the rabbits. The wolves are much faster and far more intelligent. This dungeon is on an entirely different level. His clothes remain soaked in blood. Although Resurrect heals every wound, it doesn't erase the pain he experienced. Still, none of that matters. If this is the price of changing my destiny, then this pain is insignificant. At that moment, an enormous silhouette slowly emerges from the darkness. Its glowing eyes lock onto Jiang. The final battle is about to begin. The Cyclone Wolf King releases a deafening roar that echoes throughout the entire desert. This is a level 10 boss. Its body is constantly surrounded by powerful winds, allowing it to move at unbelievable speed. Jiang calmly studies the monster. He already knows its two signature abilities, Wind Speed and Wind Blade Claw. One skill dramatically increases its movement speed, while the other launches razor-sharp wind blades capable of slicing enemies from a distance. Jiang carefully considers using Modify. However, these abilities leave very little room for safe alterations. A careless modification could easily produce an even deadlier result. The Wolf King attacks first. Wrapped in violent winds, it rushes toward him with overwhelming force. Jiang instantly decides on his strategy. Without hesitation, he tears off his blood-soaked shirt to move more freely. This battle will be settled the old-fashioned way. Armed with nothing but his sword, he prepares to rely on the combat skills that once made him the greatest student in both academics and martial arts. With explosive force, Jiang leaps high into the air. He aims directly for the Wolf King's blind spot before unleashing a powerful slash infused with blue energy. His movement is so fast that he resembles a bolt of lightning. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the training zone, another group of students narrowly escapes with their lives. The instructors wearing green coats angrily scold them for recklessly entering the advanced zone despite being inexperienced rookies. One student clenches his fists in frustration. He cannot understand how his entire team almost died, while Jiang cleared the dungeon completely on his own. Most of Jiang's classmates immediately conclude that he must have cheated. Their jealousy is impossible to hide. Then the giant display screen updates once again. Jiang has defeated the Cyclone Wolf King. Not only that, he has shattered another dungeon-clearing record. The crowd erupts in disbelief. The previous record stood at nearly an hour and a half. Jiang has shortened it by another 30 minutes. Everyone is left speechless. Yang Hongwei stares at the rankings with burning hatred. He absolutely refuses to believe Jiang accomplished such a feat honestly. "I'm going to expose him as a fraud," he vows. Gathering his followers, Yang heads toward the wolf base under the excuse of supporting Jiang. In reality, he only wants another opportunity to humiliate him. Back inside the dungeon, Jiang stands over the defeated body of the Wolf King. The battle is finally over. A notification appears before him. Level up. He has officially reached level 10. With a level increase, the system grants him a new passive ability called Durability, along with another farmer skill known as Plant Crafting. At first glance, the ability appears completely worthless. His updated status window appears before him. Level 10. 2 rank F classes. 4 innate abilities. Jiang smiles with excitement. Another opportunity has arrived. He activates Modify once again. With a single word changed, Plant Crafting evolves into Universal Crafting. In an instant, the seemingly useless farming ability transforms into a god-tier power capable of creating some of the most powerful magical beasts in existence. Jiang carefully studies his newly acquired ability. Universal Crafting allows him to fuse different species together, creating entirely new and far more powerful beings. At level 10, the fusion process has a 100% success rate. Although the ability still has certain limitations, Jiang understands that he now possesses one of the most overpowered powers imaginable. A powerful beast can be fused with another to inherit even stronger racial abilities. In theory, combining 2 rank A creatures could even produce a legendary, rank S, magical beast. The ability is nothing short of game-breaking. And if he acquires a Tamer Scroll, he can bind those creatures as completely loyal battle companions. The memories of his previous life suddenly flood back. He remembers the countless powerful people who exploited him, taking credit for his achievements while forcing him to work like a slave. Back then, he had no strength to resist. But things are different now. Gripping his blood-stained sword tightly, Jiang silently swears that no one will ever control or use him again. Looking across the battlefield covered with wolf corpses, He smiles faintly. Today was productive. It is finally time to leave. As he walks away, he notices a glowing green crystal among the remains of one of the wolves. It is an extremely rare enhancement crystal used to strengthen equipment. Normally, any crystals found inside this training base belong to the Hunter Association. However, now that Jiang has reached level 10, he has officially earned permission to enter the untamed wilderness. Everything he finds there will legally belong to him. With resources like these, his financial problems will disappear before long. As he starts walking, pain shoots through his body. His injuries aren't fatal enough to automatically activate, resurrect, making recovery far more troublesome. Going to a hospital would cost an outrageous amount of money. Unfortunately, Jiang is practically broke. He scratches his head while considering a rather absurd solution. If I kill myself, Resurrect will activate automatically and heal me for free. The idea actually makes perfect sense to him. The only problem is that doing something like that in front of the guards would create a massive commotion and attract exactly the kind of attention he wants to avoid. After thinking it over, Jiang decides to find a secluded place where he can quietly carry out his bizarre healing method without anyone noticing. With his sword resting on his shoulder, he casually walks through the training base. However, as soon as he reaches the central plaza, he stops in surprise. A huge crowd is gathered there. What is everyone doing here? He wonders. This is the last thing he expected. Suddenly, someone points directly at him. That's him, the rookie who shattered every record in the training base. Jiang immediately realizes the truth. Every person gathered there has come to see him. Breaking those records has turned him into the center of everyone's attention. It feels as though he has thrown a piece of meat into a cage full of hungry lions. He silently curses his bad luck. With so many people watching him, using Resurrect to heal himself is completely out of the question. Cold sweat runs down his face as the pain from his wounds grows worse. His only goal now is to escape before he collapses from blood loss. Just then, a brilliant golden light descends from the sky. Jiang looks upward in confusion. Behind him, an angelic figure slowly appears. The breathtaking display leaves everyone speechless. The students erupt with excitement. It's the Rank S support class Sacred Angel, one of the rarest and most prestigious classes in existence. The owner of this incredible power is Yao Xinyan. With radiant wings spread behind her, she resembles a goddess descending from heaven itself. People can hardly believe that a member of the famous Yao family has appeared here. Her presence alone transforms the atmosphere. Warm divine energy flows through Jiang's body. The healing arrives at the perfect moment. Yao Xingyan calmly watches as her holy magic closes every one of Jiang's wounds. Feeling the pain disappear, Jiang sincerely thanks her. My injuries are almost completely healed now. Thank you. He smiles to himself. At least he no longer has to resort to killing himself just to activate Resurrect. As repayment for her kindness, Jiang makes her a promise. If your equipment ever gets damaged, bring it to me. I'll repair it for you. He knows that support class awakeners constantly rely on durable equipment and trustworthy craftsmen. Yao Xingyan smiles warmly. I'll definitely remember that. Having an ally with a rank S support class is an excellent start. Unfortunately, the peaceful moment doesn't last long. Yang Hongwei suddenly pushes his way through the crowd while loudly hurling insults. Pointing directly at Jiang, he shouts for everyone to hear. He's a fraud. Don't believe a single word that comes out of his mouth. His voice is filled with pure malice. Yang reminds everyone that Jiang possesses nothing more than 2 rank F creation classes, the weakest combination possible. The surrounding students immediately begin whispering among themselves. He's right. A creation class doesn't have any combat abilities. So how could he possibly clear the dungeon by himself? Yang continues pressing the accusation. There is absolutely no way a rank F could break those records unless he bought illegal high-level equipment. He insists that Jiang must have relied on underhanded methods because he was never capable of surpassing him fairly during their 3 years of high school. Throughout the entire confrontation, Jiang remains perfectly calm. He quietly listens while Yang repeatedly points an accusing finger at him in front of the entire crowd. Then Yang reveals his most vicious accusation yet. He claims that Jiang isn't actually poor at all. Instead, according to Yang, Jiang has been deceiving the school to illegally receive financial aid and student subsidies. Yang Hongwei's accusation is extremely serious. The crowd, eager for excitement, quickly begins believing his story, labeling Jiang as nothing more than a dishonest fraud. Everything is unfolding exactly as Yang planned. With a calm smile, Jiang sarcastically asks him if he wants undeniable proof that he never cheated. Yang immediately falls for the bait. If you're so confident, fight me without any equipment. Let's see who's truly stronger. Yao Xinyan immediately grows worried. She urges Jiang not to accept, telling him that he has absolutely nothing to prove to someone like Yang. Jiang simply smiles. Thank you for worrying about me. However, he has already made up his mind. He refuses to let Yang continue spreading lies in front of everyone. Calmly drawing his sword, Jiang accepts the challenge with an icy expression that sends chills through the crowd. The entire plaza falls silent. He knows this confrontation has to end now. If he allows Yang to continue, it will only create bigger problems in the future. No one will stand in the way of his journey to the top. Yang bursts into laughter. As the owner of a rank A berserker class, he believes victory is guaranteed before the fight even begins. He activates his berserker ability, and violent crimson energy erupts around his body. His muscles swell with power as he sacrifices part of his vitality in exchange for overwhelming strength, speed, and defense. He has become a living war machine. Jiang observes him without the slightest concern. You look impressive, he says calmly, but let's see how long you can keep that up. The duel begins. Jiang isn't intimidated by Yang's terrifying aura. He knows Yang is relying entirely on the prestige of his rank A class. To Jiang, rank alone means nothing. He quietly assumes a fighting stance. No weapons, no tricks. Just pure martial skill against blind arrogance. He intends to teach Yang and everyone watching that true strength isn't determined by class rank. The signal to begin is given. Yang erupts forward like a raging beast, his berserker aura blazing violently around him. Yao Xinyan watches nervously. To her, the matchup seems completely one-sided. A rank A combat class facing a mere rank F creation class should end in an instant. Before the fight officially starts, Jiang calmly returns every piece of borrowed equipment. Now he stands barefoot and completely unarmed. He is about to fight a berserker with nothing but his own body. Yang charges while roaring. This is the end for you, Jiang. His fist, wrapped in crimson energy, crashes forward with tremendous force. Jiang casually shifts half a step. The punch misses entirely. Yang freezes for a split second. Then frustration takes over. He launches another punch. And another. Then another. Soon, he is throwing an endless barrage of furious attacks, convinced that Jiang cannot dodge forever. But every strike cuts through nothing but empty air. Jiang glides effortlessly between the punches as though he were dancing. Only faint afterimages remain where he once stood. Watching this unbelievable display, the crowd falls silent. The berserker class is certainly powerful, Jiang says calmly. But strength means nothing if your attacks never land. As Yang wildly swings again, Jiang slips directly inside his guard. Leaning close to his ear, he whispers, "It's a shame to waste such talent. I've watched you fight for the last 3 years. I've already memorized every one of your habits." Before Yang can react. Bang! Jiang drives a perfectly timed punch straight into his abdomen. The impact echoes throughout the entire arena. Yang's eyes widen in disbelief. Looking at him coldly, Jiang speaks one final time. "Even if you understand my attacks, you'll never predict what's coming next." Yang collapses to his knees, desperately gasping for air. He cannot comprehend how someone with 2 rank F classes defeated him so effortlessly. Moments later, he crashes onto the ground. His followers rush over in panic to help him. Jiang remains standing without a scratch. Quietly shaking his hand as though he had just finished an uninteresting task, he mutters, "I'm still a level above all of you." The spectators explode into chaos. Nobody can believe that a rank F creation class user has just knocked out a rank A berserker in hand-to-hand combat. Without another word, Jiang leaves the arena. His next priority is obtaining proper equipment before venturing into the untamed wilderness. With Modify, creating legendary weapons will be easy as long as he has ordinary equipment to upgrade first. After returning the school's borrowed gear, he scratches his head. Now he needs to buy equipment with his own money. Checking his pockets, he lets out a helpless sigh. He barely has enough money. Even the cheap stalls on the roadside seem far beyond his budget. Suddenly, someone throws a punch toward the back of his head. Without even looking behind him, Jiang smiles. He casually catches the incoming fist with one hand. "I know this trick," he says with a grin. "You're getting too old for this." Turning around, he finds Wang Qingfeng standing there with his usual relaxed expression. The purple-haired young man smiles. "As expected. You're still number 1 in both academics and martial arts." To break the awkward atmosphere, Wang tosses Jiang a can of soda. The two quietly open their drinks and begin chatting. Wang admits he watched the entire fight. "If you'd actually lost," he says with a grin, I would have stepped in and beaten that idiot myself. For Wang Qingfeng, Jiang is the only rival worthy of his respect. Someone like Yang Hongwei doesn't even deserve to be acknowledged. He also points out something few people noticed. You weren't even fighting seriously. The conversation reminds both of them of their first year of high school. Back then, they fought each other in front of the entire school inside the training ring. After an intense battle, Wang Qingfeng admitted defeat by raising his hand in surrender. Ever since that day, he has accepted Jiang as the superior fighter, although the rivalry between them has never faded. Jiang smiles before asking, "So, did you give up the first place scholarship because your family is rich and you didn't need the money?" Wang bursts into laughter. "Not even close. I was just terrified of those ruthless eyes you get whenever you're serious." Jiang smirks. "So, are you planning to surrender again?" When the conversation turns to this year's national tournament, Wang Qingfeng's expression becomes serious. "This time, things will be different," he says confidently. "When we meet again, I'll hit you so hard you'll be searching the floor for your teeth." Jiang grins back, accepting the challenge without hesitation. The two rivals exchange determined smiles. Wang is fully committed to giving everything he has in their next battle. They raise their soda cans and clink them together in the middle of the street, sealing their promise to face each other again in the future. Before leaving, Wang reaches into his pocket and tosses Jiang a card. It contains 2,000 credits. "Use this to buy me the Cyclone Wolf Expedition Guide," he says while waving his drink. "Don't forget to send it." Jiang catches the card and nods. All right. The two part ways, each continuing down a different path. As Jiang walks away, he silently feels grateful for his friend's help. "I'll repay this kindness tenfold someday," he promises himself. Checking his phone, he smiles after seeing his updated balance. Now that he finally has some spending money, he decides it's time to search the street markets for hidden treasures. He strolls through the city with a relaxed expression, wondering what kind of valuable finds await him. Eventually, he turns into a narrow alley packed with pipes, cables, and small makeshift shops. This is the city's black market district, where cheap goods and illegal merchandise are sold side by side. According to his memories from his previous life, this is the dirtiest, but also the cheapest market in the city. For someone with limited funds, it's the perfect place to shop. Most of the equipment sold here is nothing but junk. However, Jiang knows that with his knowledge and experience, hidden treasures can still be found among the trash. He stops in front of a second-hand weapon stall. The owner, wearing dark sunglasses, lounges casually beside several swords embedded in stone displays. A sign hanging above the shop reads, "Buying and selling used equipment." Jiang examines one of the displayed weapons. The demonic meteor blade. Its attack power is impressive, but its durability has dropped to only 72%. The merchant refuses to negotiate. 18,000 credits. Not one less. He proudly claims that if the sword were in perfect condition, it would easily sell for 25,000 credits. Jiang immediately realizes the man is trying to overcharge buyers. Ignoring the expensive blade, he points toward a much simpler weapon. "How much for that one?" The system identifies it as a blue steel sword. It is a level 10 weapon with respectable attack power, although its durability has also suffered some wear. Jiang suddenly makes an unexpected proposal. "If I restore the demonic meteor blade to perfect condition, you'll give me the blue steel sword for free." The merchant lowers his sunglasses in disbelief. He can't believe a young student would dare claim he can repair such a weapon. Without waiting for permission, John activates his repair ability. A blue glow surrounds his hand as the system confirms the repair process has begun. As magical energy flows through the blade, Jiang smiles to himself. His true target was never the expensive sword. It was always the ordinary blue steel sword. Thanks to Modify, even a mediocre weapon like that can eventually become something legendary. The merchant scoffs. "What rank are you?" He reminds Jiang that repairing durability is an extremely delicate process requiring years of experience. Jiang answers honestly, "I'm a rank F repairer. One of the weakest creation classes." The merchant blinks in surprise. He reveals that he is also a creation class awakener. However, unlike Jiang, he is a rank D blacksmith, which should make him far more skilled. Holding the damaged blade, he warns, "Even I can't guarantee a full repair without risking further damage." He continues explaining, "If a weapon's durability reaches 0, it's permanently destroyed. This isn't child's play." According to him, a true repair expert must perceive the weapon's internal structure before reconstructing the magical flow inside it. Finally, he offers Jiang a wager. "If you fail, the sword's durability will drop even lower, and you'll owe me 18,000 credits." Jiang doesn't even react. The bet doesn't concern him in the slightest. Watching from nearby, Yao Xinyan wears an anxious expression. She knows the merchant isn't exaggerating. Even the rank B craftsmen employed by her family's guild struggle to restore damaged equipment. Jiang calmly takes the sword. Watch carefully. As blue energy flows through his fingertips, memories of his previous life return. Back then, he wasn't repairing ordinary equipment. He was entrusted with maintaining legendary artifacts used by the world's strongest experts. Compared to those treasures, fixing a low-level weapon is effortless. His eyes begin glowing with brilliant blue light. Unlike other rank F repairers who quickly gave up on improving themselves, Jiang devoted his entire previous life to mastering this craft. Magical energy flows smoothly through the sword's internal pathways. Every damaged connection is restored with flawless precision. To Jiang, repairing beginner equipment is no more difficult than taking an item out of his backpack. He barely consumes any mana at all. Several nearby customers stop walking and stare in amazement. They have never seen a young student display craftsmanship that surpasses veteran blacksmiths. Yao Xinyan is equally stunned. Earlier, she believed Jiang had simply been polite when he offered to repair her equipment. Now she realizes his confidence was completely justified. Without saying a word, Jiang hands the sword back to the merchant. The system displays the final result. Durability, 100%. Perfectly restored. The merchant slowly removes his sunglasses. His earlier arrogance disappears completely. Filled with admiration and a little embarrassment, he admits he misjudged Jiang. Brother, your talent is unbelievable. Keeping his promise, he gladly hands over the blue steel sword. You've earned this many times over. Jiang accepts the weapon with a grateful smile. He already knows exactly what comes next. With Modify, all he needs to do is change a single word. That ordinary blue steel sword is about to become something truly extraordinary. The system displays the weapon's current basic statistics as Jiang prepares to transform it. For the final time before transforming his weapon, Jiang activates Modify. He changes the name, Blue Steel Sword, to King Hand Sword. In an instant, the blade bursts with dazzling light as it evolves into a pseudo-divine weapon overflowing with incredible power. A legendary artifact is born. According to ancient tales, this was the very sword wielded by the divine general who pierced through enemy formations 7 times without suffering a single scratch. Jiang smiles in satisfaction. With such a weapon in his possession, he no longer needs to spend the 2,000 credits Wang Qingfeng gave him. He can save that money for his university tuition instead, which certainly won't be cheap. As he walks home, his thoughts drift to his family. The pain of losing their parents still lingers. His younger sister quietly kneels before their memorial altar, praying with tears in her eyes. Ever since their parents passed away, she has never truly recovered. Jiang watches her sadly. He knows she has enormous potential, but right now she is still a timid and withdrawn girl. Taking a deep breath, he silently vows to earn enough money to secure her future before leaving for university. Just then, a familiar voice interrupts his thoughts. Jiang, would you be willing to help me level up? Turning around, he sees Yao Xingyan. She offers him 50,000 credits if he can help her reach level 10. Although she possesses the powerful rank S, Sacred Angel, class, she has only reached level 3. Jiang answers without hesitation. Of course. Yao Xingyan lets out a relieved sigh. Thank you. Meanwhile, Jiang is celebrating internally. Money seems to be finding him without any effort. As they pass by the black market stall, Yao Xingyan notices the demonic meteor blade that Jiang repaired earlier. I'll take that sword, she says decisively. Since its durability has been fully restored, the merchant has raised the price to 25,000 credits. Are you certain? He asks. Without saying a word, Yao Xingyan opens a storage ring and takes out a case filled with money. The merchant freezes. Storage rings are treasures that only the wealthiest families can afford. Completely overwhelmed by her status, he respectfully hands over the sword with an exaggerated bow. Watching from nearby, Jiang finally understands why she offered him 50,000 credits so casually. Her clothing, accessories, and rare equipment already revealed that she came from an extraordinarily wealthy family. However, despite her wealth, Yao Xingyan struggles to even lift the massive sword. She wobbles awkwardly under its weight. Jiang secretly smiles. His true objective is to use her exceptional support abilities to defeat a boss that had been impossible for him to overcome in his previous life. Suddenly, Yao Xingyan surprises him. She extends the demonic meteor blade toward him. Jiang, please accept this as a gift. Don't refuse. For a brief moment, Jiang is left speechless. He never expected her to buy the weapon for him. She's surprisingly considerate, he thinks. Finally, he accepts it with a grateful smile. Then I'll gladly accept it. Thank you very much. Yao Xinyan smiles happily after seeing that he appreciated her gift. As she watches him walk ahead carrying the sword over his shoulder, one thought crosses her mind. Even with rank F classes, his potential has no limits. Helping him now may become one of the best decisions she has ever made. Jiang adjusts the sword comfortably across his shoulder before speaking. Without wasting any more time, let's head to the rookie training base. Yao Xinyan follows behind him with excitement. Soon, they arrive at the enormous building marked Rookie Training Base. The moment they enter, Jiang rushes into battle like a bolt of lightning. Monsters fall one after another as Yao Xinyan rapidly gains experience. Before long, she reaches level 5. With one final acrobatic strike, Jiang defeats the last monster. A notification appears. They have broken the completion records for both the Charge Rabbit base and the Cyclone Wolf base. Across the city, giant public screens immediately display the achievement. Jiang and Yao Xinyan have cleared the Cyclone Wolf hard mode in record time. People throughout the city begin discussing the unbelievable accomplishment. Many wonder who the mysterious young woman fighting beside the already famous Jiang could be. Some recognize the surname, Yao, and quickly connect her to the prestigious Yao family. That realization causes another wave of excitement. The Yao family controls one of the country's 10 most influential organizations, the Dali Chamber of Commerce. Meanwhile, deep within a desert training zone, Yao Xinyan finally stops to catch her breath. I'm almost level 10. Can we rest for a little while? She asks between heavy breaths. Jiang, now already level 13, calmly shakes his head. We'll rest while we keep moving. Your body can still handle it. Just then, the silhouette of an enormous beast appears in the distance. Jiang narrows his eyes. He intends to take advantage of Yao Xinyan's powerful support abilities to challenge something extremely dangerous. Their destination is the only rookie training base classified as Rank C danger. Even experienced students hesitate before entering. Standing before them is a gigantic fortress entrance guarded by armed soldiers. Above the gate are the words, Hellflame Boar Training Base. The instructor on duty immediately recognizes Jiang. I know you've broken several records, he says seriously. But this place is completely different. He warns them that the Hellflame Boar King is far more dangerous than any monster they have encountered so far. Jiang remains calm. There is no glory without taking risks. Yao Xinyan looks nervous, but Jiang has complete confidence that, with her support magic, they can seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The enormous gates slowly open with a loud metallic rumble. The instructor sighs before speaking one final time. Good luck. Jiang nods respectfully. Thank you. Together, they step into the darkness beyond the gates. Inside lies a silent forest covered in thick mist. Yao Xinyan looks around in confusion. There aren't any monsters here. Jiang immediately explains. That's because this training base doesn't contain ordinary monsters. There is only one enemy. The boss. Yao Xinyan's eyes widen in disbelief. Only one boss? Before Jiang can answer, the ground suddenly begins to shake violently beneath their feet. Jiang instantly tightens his grip on his sword and prepares for battle. Here it comes. A colossal figure slowly emerges from the thick fog. It is the Hellflame Boar King. The terrifying beast is so overwhelming that Yao Xinyan nearly bursts into tears from fear. Meanwhile, Jiang simply smiles with complete confidence as he unsheathes his glowing sword. Only an opponent like you is worthy of facing me, he declares fearlessly. The Hellflame Boar King snorts furiously. Its glowing blue eyes burn with killing intent as it prepares to charge. Standing before Jiang is a level 15 monster whose body radiates an incredible temperature of nearly 200 degrees. Despite the overwhelming pressure, Jiang remains perfectly calm. He turns toward Yao Xinyan and gives her a clear order. Get ready. Heal me with sacred light whenever I need it. The young woman spreads her angelic wings and nods with determination. Without wasting another second, Jiang rushes straight toward the monster with his sword drawn, ignoring the intense heat pouring from its body. He knows the first strike will determine the flow of the battle. Using explosive leg strength, he launches himself high into the air, positioning himself above the gigantic beast. As gravity pulls him downward, he spins his body to increase the force of his attack. I'll cut your throat. His silhouette slices across the misty sky. The Hellflame Boar King lets out a deafening roar as it notices the attack descending from above, signaling the beginning of a brutal fight. Wrapped in blazing blue flames, The enormous monster proves to be far more intelligent than Jiang expected. At the last possible moment, it leaps aside, narrowly avoiding the strike aimed at its neck. While still suspended in midair, Jiang seizes the opportunity to activate his hidden trump card. The sword Yao Xinyan gave him begins to shimmer as countless digital particles surround it. Time itself seems to slow. He silently activates. Modify. The weapon's name changes, transforming it into the legendary King Han sword. Golden light erupts from the blade, confirming the modification was successful. Its attributes soar instantly. The weapon now grants over 300 bonus attack power, along with a passive ability capable of ignoring an enemy's armor. Jiang smiles. Although Modify cannot create a genuine divine weapon from nothing, this pseudo-divine sword is already more than powerful enough. With his attack power multiplied several times over and his agility greatly enhanced, he lunges toward the boss once again. His blade releases a brilliant cyan slash. He moves so quickly that the giant boar cannot react. One clean strike slices through the monster's massive tusk. The impact sends dust flying in every direction. The Hellflame Boar King roars in agony, its cry echoing throughout the entire training base. Watching from a distance, Yao Xingyan is completely stunned. Before she notices anything unusual, Jiang quietly restores the sword to its original form using Modify once again. He has no intention of exposing his true ability. Yao Xingyan cannot understand what she just witnessed. How could an ordinary weapon cut through the incredibly durable tusk of such a powerful beast? After thinking it over, she reaches her own conclusion. It wasn't the sword. It was Jiang. She becomes convinced that his extraordinary martial arts skills far surpass those of ordinary combat class awakeners. Seeing her lost in thought, Jiang immediately calls out, "Don't get distracted. This is still a battle." He reminds her to cast Sacred Light right away. If he defeats the monster alone, she won't receive any experience points. Realizing her mistake, Yao Xingyan quickly apologizes and raises her staff. A brilliant holy light descends upon Jiang, strengthening and healing him. Empowered by her support magic, Jiang prepares to end the fight. The Hellflame Boar King's blue flames burn even brighter. Instead of retreating, Jiang calmly studies his opponent. A new idea suddenly appears in his mind. Perhaps Modify itself could become an offensive technique if used at the perfect moment. His eyes briefly shift toward the demonic meteor blade. He wonders if he should transform it into an even stronger weapon. Maybe even something worthy of a god. After a moment of thought, he abandons the idea. If he attempts a modification beyond his current limits, the process could fail or worse, seriously injure him. At that exact moment, the Hellflame Boar King activates its innate skill. Hellflame Charge. Blue fire engulfs its entire body as it lowers its head and rushes forward with unstoppable momentum, leaving blazing flames in its wake. Jiang smiles calmly. He has already decided which word to change. Before acting, he turns toward Yao Xinyan. "Close your eyes." She blinks in confusion. "What?" "Just trust me. You don't want to see what's about to happen." His serious expression convinces her that the coming scene will be extremely gruesome. Without another question, she tightly closes her eyes. The instant she does, Jiang stretches out his hand toward the charging monster. Modify. He alters the name of the enemy's skill. The word charge instantly becomes buffer. The modification succeeds. The effect is immediate. Instead of charging forward with explosive speed, the Hellflame Boar King suddenly slams on the brakes and begins moving at an unbelievably slow pace, completely destroying the momentum of its ultimate attack. With the monster no longer posing any threat, Jiang seizes the opportunity and transforms his weapon back into the King Han sword. "It's over," he says calmly. In the next instant, he unleashes a flawless slash that tears through the air in a brilliant flash of light. The strike is clean, precise, and decisive. The Hellflame Boar King collapses instantly. The system announces that the boss of the training base has been defeated. A massive amount of experience pours into Jiang, pushing him straight to level 15. His growth is progressing at an unbelievable pace. Yao Xingyan also receives her share of the experience and jumps 3 levels, reaching level 12. Still keeping her eyes shut, she asks timidly, Is it over?" Jiang calmly sheathes his sword. He is relieved that he asked her to close her eyes. Otherwise, explaining how he neutralized the boss would have been nearly impossible. As he looks at her, a thought crosses his mind. She's obedient, wealthy, and possesses outstanding healing abilities. She would make an excellent companion for future dungeon expeditions. "You can open your eyes now," Jiang says. "The mission is complete." Yao Xinyan slowly opens her eyes. She is stunned to see the gigantic Hellflame Boar King lying lifeless on the ground. You actually defeated it. She can hardly believe that Jiang eliminated such a powerful monster almost entirely by himself. Jiang simply nods. The request has been fulfilled. Let's head back. Yao Xingyan becomes even more impressed. Not only is he incredibly talented, but he also keeps every promise he makes. Just as Jiang is about to leave, she stops him. Wait a moment. He turns around curiously. She hands him a small black case. This is your payment, and a little extra from me. When Jiang opens the case, his eyes widen. Inside is a storage ring. He immediately recognizes how valuable it is. These rings are crafted using spatial magic crystals and can store countless items despite their tiny size. Even the smallest storage ring is worth hundreds of thousands of credits. Jiang hesitates. I can't accept something this expensive. But Yao Xinyan gently shakes her head. You deserve it. You helped me gain 2 extra levels. You need this more than I do. After thinking it over, Jiang finally accepts. Since he plans to explore the wild zones soon, a storage ring will be incredibly useful. He accepts it with sincere gratitude. Thank you. I promise I'll repay this kindness someday. As long as it doesn't conflict with my principles, I'll help you whenever you need me. Yao Xinyan smiles brightly and gladly accepts his promise. Together they leave the dungeon. The day's training has been a complete success. Back in the city, the rookie rankings are updated. Jiang's name shines at the very top, level 15. Still, Jiang knows this advantage won't last forever. Many students possess elite combat classes that will allow them to catch up quickly. Among the strongest are Stale Yuang, a rank S sword saint, famous for his unmatched swordsmanship, San Han, a fighter blessed with overwhelming physical strength, and Luan, a rank S Gale assassin, renowned for incredible speed and deadly stealth techniques. Jiang remembers every one of them from his previous life. Sooner or later, they will all become his rivals. Instead of feeling pressured, he smiles with excitement. He looks forward to facing every one of them. Suddenly, the image of a certain girl flashes through his mind. Pushing the thought aside, he mutters to himself. First, I need to go home. He remembers the painful past. After being taken away by powerful organizations in his previous life, he was separated from his family forever. His younger sister had been left to face everything alone. After saying goodbye to Yao Xinyan, who asks him to join her in another dungeon someday, Jiang begins walking through the slums. The familiar streets awaken countless memories. He was never able to return here in his previous life. As he walks, he thinks about his little sister, Jiang Yao. He knows that in the future she will awaken an exceptionally powerful combat class. Reaching their small apartment, Jiang quietly opens the door. Inside, Jiang Yao is already waiting. The 15-year-old girl greets him softly. Dinner is ready. The atmosphere between them is heavy with silence. They sit together at the small dining table. Ever since their parents died inside a demon nest, Jiang Yao has become painfully quiet. Jiang remembers how cheerful she used to be only 3 years ago. Back then, their parents were still alive, and she smiled every day. Their deaths completely changed her. She became lonely, withdrawn, and filled with sadness. While they eat, Jiang Yao suddenly says something unexpected. I've decided to quit school. Jiang nearly drops his chopsticks. What? Why would you do that? Your grades are excellent. It makes no sense to quit just before the high school entrance exams. Lowering her head, Jiang Yao quietly explains. I saw your name ranked first in the city's rookie rankings. I'm really proud of you. You've always worked harder than anyone else. I'm sure you'll become a great awakened, someone who can protect the world. After a long pause, she continues in a trembling voice. I don't think I'll ever become anyone important. So, I want to start working. I can help pay our living expenses while you focus on your future. Jiang stares at her silently. He immediately realizes she isn't telling him the whole truth. That's not the real reason. Tell me what's actually bothering you. Before she can answer, the apartment door suddenly opens. The unexpected sound interrupts their conversation. A man steps inside. Both siblings look at him in surprise. Scratching the back of his head awkwardly, the visitor apologizes for interrupting. He explains that he normally wouldn't have come so soon. However, his loan company is facing serious financial difficulties, leaving him with no choice but to collect the debt earlier than expected. Jiang recognizes the visitor immediately. It is Uncle Conan, the owner of the small loan company that has been lending money to his family just so they could survive. The moment Jiang sees the man's troubled expression, everything becomes clear. He realizes Uncle Conan had already spoken to his sister before he arrived. That must be the real reason she wanted to quit school. Jiang Yao quietly avoids making eye contact with her brother. She knows he has achieved first place in the rankings, but she also knows their family has no income to repay the debt that has piled up over the past 2 years. Jiang finally understands the sacrifice she was prepared to make. She intended to abandon her own education so he could continue pursuing his dream of attending university. Looking directly at Uncle Conan, Jiang asks calmly, "How much do we owe in total?" The man lets out a long sigh. Without counting the interest, it's around 43,000 credits. To everyone's surprise, Jiang immediately takes out a bank card and hands it over. There are 50,000 credits on this card. It should be enough to cover both the debt and the accumulated interest. Jiang Yao freezes in shock. She cannot comprehend where her brother managed to obtain such a large amount of money overnight. Seeing the confusion and worry on her face, Jiang wants to explain everything. However, he decides to wait until Uncle Conan leaves. Understanding the situation, Uncle Conan gratefully accepts the payment. Clearly relieved, he thanks the siblings before heading toward the door. "If you ever need help again, don't hesitate to contact me." After saying goodbye, he quietly leaves. As soon as the door closes, Jiang Yao can no longer hold back. She anxiously asks her brother where he got so much money. Jiang gently pats her head with a reassuring smile. "Don't worry. I earned every single credit honestly. There was nothing illegal about it." He explains that he is currently on track to become the top rookie in the city. The reward for finishing first is 300,000 credits. So stop worrying about money. You don't need to sacrifice your future for my sake. Hearing those words, Jiang Yao bursts into tears. She realizes her brother understood everything she had been hiding. Without hesitation, Jiang hands her the remaining money. "Keep it. We won't have to struggle anymore. From now on, we'll have enough to live comfortably." He encourages her with a bright smile. "Focus on your studies. Train hard. Our future is only getting brighter." Then he laughs jokingly. "Before long, everyone will know you as the younger sister of the city's #1 student. So you'll have to become stronger too." Still crying, Jiang Yao nods repeatedly. Deeply moved by her brother's kindness and newfound confidence, she throws herself into his arms. "I promise. I'll never do anything that brings shame to the Jiang family." As Jiang hugs his little sister, he begins planning his next objective. He needs a place where he can earn money while continuing to level up as quickly as possible. After carefully thinking it through, one destination comes to mind: Poisonous Dragon Valley. It is one of the most dangerous demon dens near Nan City, but it also contains an enormous concentration of monsters, making it the perfect place for rapid growth. Legends claim that mysterious dragon-like magical beasts live deep within the valley. If Jiang can obtain a dragon egg, his universal crafting ability will finally reveal its true potential. In addition, the valley contains valuable magic crystals that can be sold for a fortune. Having made up his mind, Jiang decides to leave at dawn. Following morning, a bus arrives at the Nan City Demon Den station. Passengers carefully step off one by one. Jiang surveys the large crowd of adventurers and students preparing to enter the dangerous region. Standing before them is a massive fortress that serves as humanity's defensive stronghold against the demon dens. Beyond its heavily fortified walls lies the true battlefield. The entire area is guarded by two powerful, level 70 venerables, individuals Jiang once served during his previous life. As he walks through the fortress, he notices everyone equipping their weapons and armor before entering the wild zones. He instinctively touches the storage ring Yao Xinyan gave him. Once again, he silently appreciates her generosity. Following the eastern passage, he arrives at the gate leading directly to Poisonous Dragon Valley. A detailed map displays every explored region along with its danger rating. Jiang confirms that the valley suits his current strength. Most of the monsters there range between level 13 and level 18. At the checkpoint, he presents his student identification. His registered classes are still listed as Farmer and Repairer, both rank F. The veteran instructor immediately frowns. "You have 2 rank F classes, and you're planning to enter Poisonous Dragon Valley alone? People die out there." Jiang calmly retrieves his identification card. "Thank you for the warning, but I have no intention of dying today." The instructor watches him leave with growing concern. To him, every life is precious, regardless of talent or rank. Unable to ignore the situation, he reaches out in an attempt to stop the young man. But his hand grabs nothing except empty air. Jiang has already vanished. Only an afterimage remains. The instructor stands frozen in disbelief. He is a level 30 awakened, yet he couldn't even touch the boy. Nearby, a soldier quickly stops his captain. "Sir, that isn't an ordinary student. That's Jiang." The captain's eyes widen. He has already heard the rumors. The genius who ranked first in every category, the student who shattered every rookie training record. Both men silently watch Jiang's figure disappear into the distance. Neither of them can believe that someone with 2 rank F classes possesses combat abilities that surpass even many rank S prodigies. Moments later, Jiang arrives at the entrance of Poisonous Dragon Valley. A thick green mist blankets the entire area, making the valley resemble a radioactive wasteland filled with deadly secrets. The situation is dire because the air is toxic. Jiang pulls out one of the mandatory antidote pills and swallows it in a single gulp. Each pill costs 50 credits and only lasts for 3 hours. Since he's short on cash, he can't afford to waste a single minute. Before long, he's swarmed by a flock of level 13 green-winged bats eager to sink their fangs into him. Jiang doesn't flinch. He cuts them down as if they were made of paper, and his experience begins climbing immediately. Looking at the pile of corpses, he smiles. Not much experience, but it's a start. To speed things up, he activates Modify. Purple energy begins to surround his sword as he calmly walks forward. In an instant, his ordinary steel sword transforms into the King Hang sword. Now the real hunt begins. He charges straight into the horde, cutting down monsters left and right. The bats stand no chance. The massacre is over in moments, and Jiang reaches level 16. His efficiency is unbelievable. He continues clearing poisonous toads and vultures without breaking a sweat until he finally reaches level 18. Taking a short break to drink some water, he sighs. Still a long way to go. Despite slaughtering countless monsters, he hasn't found a single magic crystal. What terrible luck. Suddenly, a voice echoes through the fog. "Were you the one who killed all those beasts?" Jiang immediately becomes alert. 2 figures emerge from the mist. From the way they carry themselves, he can tell they aren't rookies. The leader is Luan, an S-rank prodigy from another academy. His companion, Utah, steps forward aggressively. "Are you deaf?" Jiang doesn't even blink. "Isn't it obvious I killed them?" Utah immediately rolls up his sleeves, furious that a mere rookie would disrespect Luan. Before he can attack, Luan raises a hand to stop him. Surprisingly, Luan offers Jiang a place on his team after recognizing his potential. Jiang rejects the offer without hesitation. "I'm not interested." He knows exactly what they're after. They simply want him to do the hard work while they steal the rewards. Utah can hardly believe the arrogance. "You'll regret talking to us like that." Luan remains calm. If he made it this far alone, then he's clearly talented. Even so, Utah leaves with a threat. "The next time we meet, I'll knock your teeth out." An hour later, Jiang ventures even deeper into Poisonous Dragon Valley. He only has 1 antidote pill left, so time is running out. He keeps searching for valuable materials, but so far, the valley has given him nothing except endless fog and silence. He remembers the rumors about dragons living somewhere inside the valley. So where are they? Suddenly, something rushes toward him from the side. A gigantic sticky tongue shoots straight at him. Jiang reacts instantly, blocking it with his sword. He tries to cut through it, but the blade barely leaves a mark. The defense is incredible. The ground begins to tremble. A massive silhouette slowly emerges from the darkness. The Miasma Demon Toad King. A terrifying, level 20, zone boss. Instead of panicking, Jiang smiles. "So you're finally here." This monster should drop the magic crystal he's been searching for. The Toad King immediately activates Constricting Tongue, launching several sticky tongues at once. Jiang slips between them effortlessly, studying every movement. "I've figured out your attack pattern." He prepares to use Modify, planning to alter the skill so the monster trips over itself. "Time to die, you disgusting toad." He leaps forward and swings with all his strength. Clang! The blade bounces off harmlessly. The monster's skin is as hard as solid stone. Jiang stares in disbelief. "I didn't even leave a scratch." The Toad King immediately activates Frost Skin, covering itself in another layer of armor. Its defense becomes absurd. Jiang attempts to use Modify. Error. The system rejects the attempt. The monster's level is simply too high. His expression darkens. So Modify has limits after all. The Toad King lashes out again with its sticky tongue, forcing Jiang to retreat. He tightens his grip on his weapon. "If I want to win, I'll have to gamble." Without hesitation, he uses Modify on his own weapon. The demonic meteor blade, begins trembling violently as crimson energy erupts from its surface. The transformation succeeds. The sword evolves into the Demon King's blade. Terrifying crimson flames surround Jiang. A gigantic sinister eye opens on the weapon's hilt, as though the sword itself has awakened. This thing is dangerous. But there is no turning back now. He has to finish the battle before the weapon becomes an even greater threat. With a powerful swing, Jiang unleashes a devastating slash. A massive wave of crimson energy tears through the air toward the Toad King. Boom! The devastating slash splits the miasmid demon Toad King, clean in half as if it were butter. The boss is defeated. The moment the attack ends, Jiang drops to one knee. A single swing of the Demon King's blade has completely drained his stamina. He gasps for air as he realizes the terrifying truth. This sword is a double-edged weapon. It is far too powerful for his current body. Suddenly, crimson markings begin spreading up his arm. The sword is consuming him. He desperately tries to activate, modify, to stop the corruption, but his mana is nearly exhausted. His vision blurs, and he collapses onto the ground. The crimson veins continue creeping toward his shoulder. Then a sinister voice echoes from the blade. You dare to borrow the power of a king. Now pay with your life. A gigantic crimson eye appears within Jiang's consciousness. The Demon King's will has awakened. Gritting his teeth, Jiang struggles to remain conscious as the crimson aura engulfs his entire body. Despite the unbearable pain, he forces out a weak smile. I expected this. This isn't the first time he's encountered this cursed sword. In his previous life, he had already learned all of its tricks. Without hesitation, he directs his consciousness toward the giant crimson eye, the source of the sword's evil will. He attacks it directly. A violent explosion of crimson energy erupts as Jiang clashes against the blade's consciousness using nothing but sheer willpower. He roars as the sword resists with everything it has, creating a raging whirlwind of scarlet light around him. The Demon King's consciousness lets out a deafening shriek before gradually fading away. Finally, the crimson markings stop spreading. Jiang exhales deeply in relief. I made it. By attacking the weapon's consciousness directly, he managed to halt the corruption just before it consumed him. Once he recovers his strength, he'll use Modify to rename the sword and eliminate the danger permanently. As he rests, memories from his previous life surface. Back then, a similar cursed blade had appeared during the battle against the Ninth Demon King. It had taken a level 80 general to suppress it. That horrifying experience taught Jiang exactly how to deal with weapons possessed by malicious consciousness. He stares silently at the blade. Could these Demon Kings really come from another world? After recovering some of his strength, Jiang stands up. His first task is obvious. He activates Modify one more time and changes the weapon's name to Rotten Jaw Blade, stripping away its dangerous properties. With the threat neutralized, he walks toward the remains of the Toad King. Don't disappoint me. Searching through the corpse, he finally discovers what he came for. A brilliant purple magic crystal. Mission accomplished. A level 20 boss crystal. It will sell for an enormous amount of money. He also gathers the remains of every monster he slaughtered throughout the valley. Selling them on the black market should earn him much more than the official market ever would. Then the system announces another reward. Level up? Jiang reaches level 20. Gaining 2 levels from a single boss is almost unheard of. For a brief moment, he wonders if there's a way to exploit the system and reach level 100 through some hidden loophole. He quickly abandons the idea. If something goes wrong, the entire city could reset along with me. The risk simply isn't worth it. As always, every 10 levels grant him new innate abilities. At level 20, he unlocks Dismantle, allowing him to extract materials from equipment and monsters. His second new skill is Fastenery. At first glance, it appears completely useless. Naturally, Jiang smiles. One word is all he needs. Using Modify, he changes its name to Damage Immunity. The transformation succeeds instantly. A god-tier ability. An emergency trump card capable of saving his life in critical situations. Satisfied with the results, Jiang prepares to leave. Then, he suddenly senses something unusual. Someone is watching him from the treetops. His peaceful hunt is over. The figure reveals himself. It's one of Luan's subordinates. The assassin leaps from the shadows with a dagger aimed straight at Jiang's back. It is Yuta, a rank B assassin at level 17. Confident in his speed, he sneers. Let's see what an F-rank trash can do. Activating his speed enhancement skill, Yuta rushes forward. To Jiang, however, the attack is painfully predictable. He blocks it effortlessly. One clean counterattack is all it takes. Utah crashes to the ground, coughing up blood. He stares at Jiang in complete disbelief. How? Are you faster than me? Then he notices the expensive storage ring on Jiang's finger. The humiliation cuts even deeper. Jiang looks down at him calmly. Your class doesn't determine your strength. Training, experience, and attributes decide the outcome. Utah finally realizes he never stood a chance. Just as Jiang turns to leave, his instincts scream. Another presence, far more dangerous than Utah. He narrowly avoids a surprise strike that slices through the air where his head had been only a moment before. A new opponent steps out of the shadows. An elite assassin. Unlike Utah, this one is the real deal. Their blades collide instantly. Clang! Sparks erupt in every direction as the two exchange blows at incredible speed. The newcomer smiles. Not bad. That's an impressive sword. Jiang returns the compliment while carefully analyzing every movement of his mysterious new opponent. The assassin took a small step back, acknowledging that Jiang Yang was an opponent worthy of his respect. Lu Yuan wanted to discover what the top-ranked rookie was truly capable of. Jiang Yang laughed. He could tell that his opponent still did not fully understand his real strength, so he proposed a wager. Let's make a bet. Whoever loses must give their weapon to the winner. Deal. Lu Yuan, the S-rank assassin, unleashed his Gale aura. Jiang Yang prepared himself for battle. His personal treasure was on the verge of becoming an S-rank weapon. Lu Yuan shifted into a defensive posture, keeping his eyes fixed on Jiang Yang as countless thoughts ran through his mind. My class was born to be faster than everyone else. Speed is my greatest advantage. The instant that thought appeared, he shot forward like lightning, rushing directly toward Jiang Yang. Without hesitation, Jiang Yang raised his weapons to defend himself. Even while blocking, he struggled to keep up with a relentless barrage of attacks striking from every direction. Despite defending successfully, he could not help but feel surprised. His speed is truly outrageous, as expected from an S-rank combat class. Not far away, someone lay on the ground watching the battle unfold. Excitement covered his face as he shouted loudly, "So cool. Finish him off, brother." Seeing Jiang Yang seemingly forced onto the defensive by his speed, Lu Yuan's confidence grew even stronger. A victorious smile slowly appeared on his face. Too slow. He isn't my match at all. A tank class is still just a tank class. In Lu Yuan's eyes, the outcome had already been decided. Jiang Yang seemed unable to match his speed, and every passing second only strengthened his belief that victory was within reach. Suddenly, Lu Yuan vanished from Jiang Yang's sight and instantly appeared behind him. Gathering all of his power into a single devastating strike, he aimed directly for Jiang Yang's blind spot. A confident grin spread across his face. This attack will end everything. At that moment, blood splashed through the air. For a brief instant, everyone thought the battle was over. Then, an unbelievable scene unfolded. Without even turning around, Jiang Yang casually extended one hand and stopped Lu Yuan's attack completely. The strike that was meant to decide the battle had been halted effortlessly. The battlefield seemed to fall silent. Lu Yuan's eyes widened in disbelief as he froze in place. He could not understand what had just happened. His greatest weapon had always been his speed, the very thing that allowed him to overwhelm and dominate his opponents. Yet Jiang Yang had neutralized it completely. A chill ran through Lu Yuan's entire body. Jiang Yang looked directly at him. Despite the intensity of the fight, his expression remained calm and steady. There was not the slightest hint of panic in his eyes. The winner has already been decided. Hearing those words and witnessing Jiang Yang stop his attacks so effortlessly, Lu Yuan finally realized something he had overlooked from the very beginning. His eyes narrowed as countless thoughts raced through his mind. From the start, he never intended to compete with me in speed. So this is the strength of the #1 freshman in Nan City's rankings. Now things are finally becoming interesting. If you can trade injuries for an advantage, then I can also sacrifice something to survive. The shock he had felt moments earlier slowly transformed into excitement. Instead of fear, a fierce fighting spirit ignited within him. He had finally met an opponent worthy of his full power, and the realization made his blood surge with anticipation. Without giving Lu Yuan any chance to recover, Jiang Yang moved in to finish the battle. He swung his weapon with tremendous force, aiming to end the fight with a single decisive blow. The attack sliced through the air with terrifying speed and power. However, Lu Yuan's reflexes were equally remarkable. At the critical moment, he instantly leaped backward and narrowly avoided the strike. His body soared through the air before landing safely at a distance. Although he had escaped, there was a price to pay. Jiang Yang lowered his eyes and noticed something left behind in his hand. It was Lu Yuan's dagger. To avoid the attack, Lu Yuan had abandoned his weapon without the slightest hesitation, choosing survival over possession. It was a decision that required exceptional decisiveness and battlefield awareness. Looking at the dagger in his hand, Jiang Yang could not help but praise him. Good kid, you actually abandoned your weapon. Your combat instincts are impressive. However, without a weapon, how do you plan to continue fighting me? His voice remained calm, but there was genuine recognition in his words. Very few people could make such a quick decision under pressure. At that moment, Lu Yuan was already standing on the branch of a nearby tree, looking down at Jiang Yang with a confident smile. Far from appearing worried, he looked completely relaxed. Then he grinned and replied, I really like this kind of short sword, so I usually keep 3 of them in my storage ring. Jiang Yang looked at Lu Yuan and thought to himself, I almost forgot. He's the eldest young master of the prestigious Lu family of Nan City. To him, a B-rank weapon is nothing more than a drop in the ocean. But defeating such a favored son of heaven makes this even more satisfying. At that moment, Lu Yuan raised his newly drawn short sword and activated one of his abilities. A powerful aura immediately erupted from his body, and his expression became more serious than ever. You are the first opponent who will witness this. I originally thought the sword saint would be the one to see it first. As soon as the words left his mouth, violent winds swept across the battlefield. The name of the skill was finally revealed. Gale Fierce Slash. With a loud roar, Lu Yuan swung his blade at incredible speed. Instantly, countless wind-infused slashes surged forward like a raging storm. Sharp waves of blade aura tore through the air one after another, covering a vast area as they rushed toward Jiang Yang from every direction. Facing the overwhelming assault, Jiang Yang immediately began moving at high speed. He weaved through the incoming attacks while searching for an opening. As he narrowly dodged one slash after another, he analyzed the situation. So this is the power of a combat class. Every innate skill provides an enormous boost in battle. Another barrage of blade aura shot toward him, forcing him to change direction repeatedly. Not to mention, this kid is an S-rank combat class. He's ridiculously strong. Even while avoiding the attacks, Jiang Yang couldn't deny his opponent's overwhelming strength. However, after carefully observing Lu Yuan's attacks, he gradually noticed a weakness. But his ranged blade attacks are clearly slower than his close-quarters combat speed. Launching this many wind blade auras must consume a tremendous amount of stamina. Hiding myself and waiting for a one-hit kill is my best chance to win. His eyes narrowed as he made his decision. After all, I can't reveal my true innate skill. The next moment, Jiang Yang completely vanished from sight. Lu Yuan continued attacking for a few more moments before finally realizing his opponent had disappeared. He stopped and carefully scanned the surroundings. The battlefield suddenly fell silent. Standing amid the destruction he had created, Lu Yuan slowly spoke. So, he's hiding. A wise decision. A faint smile appeared on his face. However, moments later, that smile turned into a confident grin. But what will you do when there's nowhere left to hide? The instant he finished speaking, he unleashed another relentless barrage. Wave after wave of gale fierce slash erupted from his sword. The surrounding forest was devastated by the continuous assault. Massive trees were sliced apart one after another, crashing to the ground with thunderous force. After reducing the entire area to ruins, Lu Yuan descended from the sky and landed on the ground. He immediately searched the battlefield, expecting Jiang Yang to be exposed among the wreckage. Instead, his eyes widened in shock. The battlefield was empty. There wasn't a single trace of Jiang Yang. That guy, he disappeared. At that very moment, Lu Yuan suddenly sensed a presence behind him. His instincts screamed in warning. Without hesitation, he spun around and slashed toward the presence. His blade flashed through the air with incredible speed. But when the attack landed, Lu Yuan's eyes widened. There was no one there. His strike had only shattered a broken tree trunk. Even so, he immediately realized what had happened. The shadow was a distraction. I see your trick. Yet the figure he thought he had discovered was nothing more than a decoy. At that moment, a silhouette slowly emerged from the mist in front of him. Jiang Yang stepped forward calmly, sword in hand, his gaze unwavering. Then he said, "Feign to the east, strike to the west. I win." Hearing those words, Lu Yuan's expression became increasingly complicated. Countless thoughts raced through his mind. An F-rank class actually pushed me this far. He even used the terrain and the surrounding plants to his advantage. Looking at Jiang Yang, Lu Yuan couldn't hide the mixture of admiration and disbelief in his eyes. If he were an A-rank class, I can't even imagine how powerful he would become. But what a pity. No matter how capable he is, he's still only an F-rank class. while I am a genuine S-rank combat class. How could I possibly lose to you like this? Refusing to accept defeat, Lu Yuan activated another innate skill. A brilliant light erupted around him as a powerful barrier instantly formed in front of his body. The shield stood firmly between him and Jiang Yang, completely blocking the attack path. Seeing this, Jiang Yang narrowed his eyes. So, this kid has already broken through level 20 and awakened another innate skill. Even so, his confidence never wavered. But my Qinggong sword isn't something to be underestimated either. The pressure radiating from Jiang Yang's sword increased rapidly. Even the surrounding air seemed to tremble beneath its overwhelming power. Lu Yuan's barrier held for a brief moment. Then cracks slowly spread across its surface. Even Jiang Yang's sword began vibrating under the tremendous force being unleashed. Looking directly at the shield, Jiang Yang said, "Even with this barrier, you can't withstand an attack of this power." In the next instant, he unleashed a full-force strike. Boom! The barrier shattered instantly. Fragments of energy exploded in every direction as the shield was completely destroyed. The remaining force of the attack slammed directly into Lu Yuan, launching him a tremendous distance away. His body crashed across the battlefield before finally coming to a stop far in the distance. Jiang Yang watched him disappear before quietly looking ahead. Should I continue chasing him? For a brief moment, he considered finishing the battle. However, he quickly shook his head. But this hasn't reached the point of a life-and-death fight. Besides, Lu Yuan isn't a bad person. In my previous life, he also led the Lu family in resisting the monster invasion. Meanwhile, far from the battlefield, Lu Yuan lay motionless on the ground. His condition was miserable. Lu Yuan's clothes were torn, his body ached from head to toe, and his stamina was nearly exhausted. Even so, his fighting spirit had not completely faded. As he struggled to stand, he thought, "I haven't lost yet. Once he gets close enough, I'll hit him with a point-blank wind blade. Even if it drains the last of my stamina, I'll make sure to wound him badly." However, another thought quickly followed. But as an S-rank class, I've actually been pushed into such a desperate situation by an F-rank. He clenched his fists tightly. So, an F-rank class can become this powerful. Despite his shock, he still believed in his own future. No matter what, my potential as an S-rank is still greater than his. Soon afterward, he spotted Jiang Yang approaching from a distance. Believing the battle was about to resume, Lu Yuan secretly gripped one of his daggers, preparing a final surprise attack. His eyes never left Jiang Yang. But then something completely unexpected happened. Jiang Yang stopped in front of him and extended his hand. There was no hostility on his face, only respect. Then he said, "It seems we fought to a draw. You're really strong." Lu Yuan was completely stunned. His mind went blank. Nothing about the situation made sense. Confused, he asked, "What do you mean?" Jiang Yang smiled faintly. "I mean you're an opponent worthy of my respect. Let's call this match a draw." For a moment, Lu Yuan simply stared at him. Then he noticed the look in Jiang Yang's eyes. There was no arrogance, no contempt, and no sense of superiority. Only genuine acknowledgement. This is the look of someone who truly respects me. He doesn't look down on me at all. His expression gradually softened. I'm strong, but he's strong too. At that moment, Lu Yuan realized something important. I understand now. There is always a higher mountain, and there is always someone stronger. The pride he had always carried slowly transformed into humility and maturity. Looking at Jiang Yang sincerely, he said, "Thank you for teaching me that." Afterward, the two young men reached out and shook hands. The fierce battle that had shaken the entire forest ended with mutual respect. Looking directly at Jiang Yang, Lu Yuan declared, "I admit it, you're a true powerhouse, someone worthy of being my rival. But next time I'll defeat you fair and square at the freshman top 100 tournament." Jiang Yang smiled confidently before replying, "Then you'll have to work much harder. Otherwise." His eyes became sharp. "You'll lose the right to be my opponent." Lu Tao hurried over and dragged Lu Yuan away while shouting at Jiang Yang, "You little punk. Just wait until next time. How dare you beat brother Yuan up like that?" Lu Yuan immediately turned toward him. "Watch your mouth from now on. You'll show him the same respect you show me." Hearing those words, Lu Tao could only nod obediently. Lu Yuan then looked back at Jiang Yang with a smile. "Next time, I'm going all out. I'll definitely beat you." Jiang Yang watched him leave with a faint smile. If you really fought with everything you had, the moment you shouted the name of your first skill, you would have already lost. After all, Gale Rending Slash has countless variations I can use. What a shame, though. After such an intense battle, I didn't gain anything. Since we called it a draw, I even returned his dagger. It feels like I worked for nothing. As Jiang Yang scratched the back of his head, he suddenly sensed a powerful surge of energy nearby. His attention was instantly drawn toward it. What's that? A moment later, realization dawned on him. It must have happened during that attack. My slash must have exposed something that was hidden. It looks like some kind of poisonous mist. Let's go take a look. Maybe I'll even run into another boss-level monster. Without wasting another second, Jiang Yang activated his modification skill, converting his damage immunity into poison immunity. The skill's effect immediately appeared before him. Poison immunity grants immunity to toxins of rank C and below for 20 minutes. Seeing the effect, Jiang Yang nodded in satisfaction. With this, I can save my antidote pills. So, what's hiding inside that strange poisonous fog? Following the source of the energy, Jiang Yang soon arrived at a large lake. Thick, poisonous mist floated across the water's surface and slowly spread outward in every direction. After observing it for a moment, he said, "The poison is spreading from the center of the lake. It looks like the entire lake has become toxic. Could a legendary poison dragon be living here? Let's find out." The moment those words left his mouth, Jiang Yang jumped into the lake and swam toward its center. As he moved through the water, he carefully searched for the source of the poisonous aura. However, something felt strange. Everywhere he looked, there were only weak monsters swimming around. None of them seemed powerful enough to generate such an overwhelming poisonous presence. That only made him even more curious. Why are there only weak monsters here? Just as the thought crossed his mind, a massive shadow suddenly appeared before him. The surrounding water trembled as a gigantic monster slowly emerged from the depths. Its body was covered in thick, ice-like armor, and its enormous jaws looked powerful enough to crush almost anything in their path. At that moment, information about the creature appeared before Jiang Yang. Ice-armored crocodile level 18. The moment he saw it, Jiang Yang's eyes lit up. So there really is a big one hiding underwater. The giant crocodile locked its gaze onto him and slowly opened its terrifying jaws. It was obvious that the monster had already chosen him as its prey and intended to swallow him whole. Instead of panicking, Jiang Yang remained completely calm. A confident smile appeared on his face as he looked directly at the ice-armored crocodile. "You want to eat me? That's not going to happen." Without wasting a second, Jiang Yang hurled his sword straight at the monster. The blade shot through the water with incredible speed and struck the crocodile with deadly precision. As he attacked, he thought to himself, "I'll gladly take your materials." The powerful strike proved to be the finishing blow. The enormous beast quickly lost its life, and its massive body slowly sank to the bottom of the lake. Jiang Yang observed it for a moment before shaking his head. "This thing is way too big to fit inside my storage ring. But this is the perfect chance to test my new dismantle skill." Curious about its effectiveness, he immediately activated the ability. The skill description appeared before him. Dismantle. Can dismantle creatures and items of level 10 or below to obtain materials. Has a 10% chance to trigger a reward critical. After activating the skill, Jiang Yang immediately got to work. The process was surprisingly smooth, and before long, the giant monster had been dismantled into a pile of valuable materials. As he examined the rewards, one item immediately caught his attention. He picked it up, inspected it carefully, and nodded with satisfaction. "This hide is excellent. I'll keep it." After storing the valuable material inside his storage ring, Jiang Yang prepared to continue his investigation. The mysterious energy he had sensed earlier was becoming stronger with every passing moment. Only then did he realize how close he had already come to its source. "I didn't even notice. I've already come this close to the source of the poisonous mist. Let's see what's really hiding there." His curiosity growing stronger, Jiang Yang increased his speed. The farther he traveled, the denser the poisonous aura became. At the same time, countless thoughts ran through his mind. The entire landscape has been warped by these toxins. Don't tell me my luck is actually this good. Everything around him looked increasingly unnatural. The poisonous energy had transformed the entire area into a landscape unlike anything he had ever seen. The closer he got, the more convinced he became that something extraordinary was waiting ahead. Eventually, he spotted a massive boulder and quickly hid behind it. Carefully peeking from cover, he looked toward the center of the poisonous region. At that moment, the system displayed new information. Poison Dragon, level 43 female growth phase. The moment Jiang Yang read those words, his heart skipped a beat. His eyes widened slightly as he stared at the legendary creature. So it really is a poison dragon. Even for someone who had encountered countless powerful monsters, The sight before him was astonishing. As he continued observing the dragon, countless thoughts flooded his mind. It's still in its growth phase, yet it's already level 43 and laying eggs. As expected of a legendary high-tier monster, the enormous dragon radiated an overwhelming presence. The poisonous aura that had spread throughout the entire lake clearly originated from it. Hidden behind the giant boulder, Jiang Yang remained perfectly still as he watched the legendary creature from afar. He knew he had stumbled upon something far more valuable and far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. Remaining hidden, Jiang Yang continued studying the poison dragon while countless calculations filled his mind. The longer he observed it, the more valuable it became in his eyes. Once it reaches maturity, it'll probably surpass level 70. And with my universal crafting skill, its potential can be pushed even higher. When I get the chance to steal those dragon eggs, I'll also be avenging all the humans who died here. The thought of obtaining the dragon eggs made his heart race with anticipation. However, just as he was planning his next move, a strange sound suddenly echoed across the area. Jiang Yang immediately looked into the sky, his expression turning serious. A moment later, he sensed another overwhelming presence approaching. His eyes widened. Could it be? Of course. There's a male dragon too. That discovery instantly changed everything. One poison dragon was already terrifying enough. The appearance of a second dragon made the area far more dangerous than he had anticipated. Jiang Yang quickly assessed the situation and reached a conclusion. This place isn't safe. I can't defeat them yet. I'll come back when I'm stronger. At least my goal is clearer than ever. Become stronger. Claim those dragon eggs. Not long afterward, Jiang Yang left the lake and returned to dry land. Even as he walked away, his thoughts remained fixed on the future. When that day comes, who besides me could become Nanyang City's top scorer? It's time to go. I'll sell these materials at the black market first and make some money. Having made up his mind, he immediately set off toward his next destination. Before long, the scene shifted to the underground black market of Nanyang City. As Jiang Yang walked through the bustling underground marketplace, he explained it from his own perspective. This is Nanyang City's underground black market. It's rumored that a level 60 Grandmaster oversees this place. They say that Grandmaster has an extraordinary background. As long as nothing major happens here, even the authorities choose to turn a blind eye. That makes trading much easier. But it also allows countless sins to remain hidden. The underground market was crowded with all kinds of people, from hunters and merchants to individuals involved in transactions that could never take place openly. Despite its dangerous reputation, it was also one of the best places to buy and sell rare materials. Eventually, Jiang Yang stopped in front of a particular shop and thought, this was the most trustworthy black market shop in my previous life. Inside, the female shop owner was negotiating with two customers. One of the men looked frustrated as he pleaded, "Boss, can't you raise the price a little? My brothers and I worked hard to get this haul." The woman remained calm and replied, "I'm already offering the highest price on this entire street. If you're not satisfied, you're free to sell somewhere else." Just then, her attention shifted toward the entrance, where Jiang Yang had just arrived. She looked him up and down before raising an eyebrow. "A high school student, do you have something to sell too?" Before Jiang Yang could answer, one of the two men burst into laughter. "Just look at him. He doesn't even have proper gear. What valuable goods could a kid like him possibly have?" The man walked over and waved dismissively. "Kid, do yourself a favor and leave. Stop wasting the boss's time." Faced with their ridicule, Jiang Yang remained completely calm. Instead of getting angry, he casually revealed the storage ring on his finger. "I really don't have anything special." The moment they noticed the ring, both men froze. Their expressions instantly changed from mockery to shock. A storage ring? How does a kid like him own something that expensive? Before they could recover from their surprise, Jiang Yang calmly began taking out item after item. That's about everything. Piles of valuable monster materials quickly filled the room. The two men were left speechless. Even the female shop owner couldn't hide her surprise. As she looked at one of the materials, she thought, he even has the hide of an ice-armored crocodile. Did he actually venture into the deepest part of Poison Dragon Valley? Just when everyone thought he was finished, Jiang Yang suddenly remembered something else. He reached into his storage ring again. "Oh, right. There's also this." The moment the item appeared, both men stared at it with wide eyes. A magic crystal? He actually has a magic crystal. Who exactly is this kid? Their earlier arrogance had completely disappeared. Now, all they could do was stare at Jiang Yang in disbelief. Meanwhile, Jiang Yang smiled faintly and turned toward the shop owner. Boss, could you calculate the total value for me? And please be quick. I wouldn't want to delay these two gentlemen from conducting their important business. A short while later, the transaction was completed. The scene shifted to a luxurious VIP room inside the shop. Boss Chin calmly reviewed the records before speaking in a professional tone. According to our appraisal, the total value of the materials you brought is 178,500. The magic crystal alone is worth 50,000. Altogether, your final payment comes to 228,500. It's all stored on this card. As she finished speaking, she placed a special gold card on the table in front of Jiang Yang. He reached toward it with a satisfied smile. You're refreshingly straightforward. Boss Chin, I'll gladly accept. However, before he could pick it up, Boss Chin gently placed her hand over his. There is one more thing. This gold card identifies you as a VIP client of Jinyu Pavilion. If you bring us more magic crystals in the future, I'll increase our purchase price by another 10%. Hearing that, Jiang Yang immediately stood up. A look of genuine appreciation appeared on his face. Then I'll gladly accept your generosity. Thank you, Boss Chin. Soon afterward, Jiang Yang left the VIP room and walked out of Jinyu Pavilion. As he made his way through the building, he quietly reflected on the transaction. Boss Chin is fair and trustworthy. That's exactly why I chose to do business with her. She even gave me VIP status and priority treatment. She clearly recognizes my potential. The more he thought about it, the more convinced he became that he had made the right decision. In a world where strength determined both status and opportunity, having the support of a powerful organization could make an enormous difference. His confidence in the future only continued to grow. The moment Jiang Yang stepped outside, he immediately noticed countless eyes turning toward him. Many people were secretly watching him. Some looked at him with curiosity, some with envy, others with intentions that were far more dangerous. Feeling all those gazes focused on him, Jiang Yang remained perfectly calm. Instead of feeling nervous, a faint smile appeared on his face. People with true ability are welcomed everywhere. As expected, overwhelming strength is the foundation of everything. If I want to earn the nation's highest rewards and climb the Yan rankings, power is an absolute necessity. In this world, reputation, wealth, and influence all followed strength. Without enough power, none of those things could ever truly belong to you. Not far away, two men secretly watched him while whispering to each other. One of them grinned greedily. Second brother, looks like we're making another fortune today. The two men kept their eyes locked on Jiang Yang. Meanwhile, fully aware that he was being watched, Jiang Yang continued walking alone through the streets. He calmly assessed his current situation. Now that I've made some money, I need better protection. Just carrying two weapons still doesn't feel safe enough. His instincts were already warning him that trouble was on its way. The wealth he had just obtained, along with the attention he had attracted, was bound to draw the wrong kind of people. Even so, Jiang Yang showed no trace of panic. He simply continued walking forward, his expression calm and composed. Jiang Yang silently admitted to himself. As expected, I've been targeted. Even so, there wasn't the slightest trace of fear in his heart. He had anticipated this outcome long before leaving Jinyu Pavilion. From the moment he decided to sell valuable materials and reveal part of his strength, he already knew that certain people would set their sights on him. To Jiang Yang, this was neither surprising nor alarming. It was simply another obstacle on the path he had chosen. With unwavering confidence, he continued walking while thinking. But everything is unfolding exactly as I expected. Whatever happens next, I'll be ready. As Jiang Yang walked through the streets, he quietly observed the two men following him from a distance. The closer they came, the stronger the smell of blood became. After carefully assessing them, he narrowed his eyes. That stench of blood. I'd bet everything inside those sacks is stolen loot. Judging by their appearance and the murderous aura surrounding them, these men were clearly no ordinary criminals. They had most likely robbed and murdered countless victims before crossing paths with him. A cold smile appeared on Jiang Yang's face. Getting rid of them will count as doing a good deed. Meanwhile, the two pursuers became increasingly confident as they followed him into a deserted area. Seeing Jiang Yang continue walking alone, the older brother sneered. This kid just picked out the perfect place to die. The younger brother laughed cruelly. His family will probably be the first to hear the news. In their eyes, Jiang Yang was nothing more than an inexperienced high school student carrying a fortune. They believed he had unknowingly walked straight into their trap. However, the moment Jiang Yang reached the empty area, he suddenly stopped. The atmosphere instantly became tense. Without even turning around, he calmly said, "You finally caught up. I've been waiting." Hearing those words, Both brothers froze for a moment. They had assumed they were the hunters. Instead, it suddenly felt as though they had been lured here on purpose. The older brother stepped forward, gripping his massive cleaver with a mocking smile. "Kid, you're still in high school, aren't you? We're both combat classes." Before Jiang Yang could respond, the younger brother added arrogantly, "We've killed plenty of grown adults. You're just the next name on the list." Their voices were filled with confidence as they tried to intimidate him with their experience. But instead of showing fear, Jiang Yang casually looked at them and replied with exaggerated sarcasm. "Combat classes. I'm terrified. A helpless little F-rank artisan like me could never beat the two of you." Every word dripped with mockery. Rather than sounding frightened, he was openly making fun of them. The older brother's face darkened with anger. "Brat, nothing about your expression says you're scared." The younger brother immediately realized what was happening. "Big brother, he's making fun of us." Jiang Yang didn't even bother denying it. He shrugged casually. "You're right. I am." His calm attitude completely enraged the two criminals. Furious, the older brother charged forward with his cleaver raised, intending to cut Jiang Yang down in a single strike. At the same moment, the younger brother activated one of his skills, Venom Imbue. A poisonous aura instantly spread across his weapon as he prepared to attack. Yet Jiang Yang remained perfectly calm. He casually snapped his fingers. "Since my rebirth, this is the first time I've used this skill on humans." Then he quietly spoke, "Activate. Skill modification." The moment the ability took effect, a strange and terrifying change occurred. Jiang Yang's modification skill instantly interfered with their abilities, altering them completely. His own passive healing skill was enhanced to a higher level, while his enemy's skills were forcibly transformed into entirely different effects. The older brother suddenly froze. A look of confusion spread across his face as his body began moving against his own will. His muscles ignored his commands and started attacking his own body. The confidence on his face instantly turned into horror. The younger brother suffered an even worse fate. Watching the scene unfold, he screamed in panic. At that very moment, his Venom Imbue skill was modified into a completely different ability called Consume. Instead of strengthening him, the venom he had prepared for Jiang Yang immediately turned against its owner. The poison rapidly spread throughout his own body. His face turned deathly pale as unbearable pain consumed him. Unable to remain standing, he collapsed to his knees while staring at Jiang Yang in disbelief. With great difficulty, he managed to ask, "How is this possible?" Ignoring their terror, Jiang Yang slowly walked toward them. There was no excitement in his expression, only calm certainty. Looking at the results of his skill, he quietly muttered, "So, it's finally complete." He slowly raised his sword and pointed it at the two men. His voice turned cold. "You've robbed and murdered plenty of innocent people, haven't you? Then it's time to face your retribution." A few moments later, silence returned to the deserted street. The two criminals who had hunted countless victims lay dead, destroyed by the consequences of their own evil deeds. After finishing them off, Jiang Yang searched through their belongings. While examining their possessions, he noticed something familiar. Pulling out a piece of paper, he read it aloud. "Wanted notice? B-rank fugitives, Lu Dale and Shu Yang." For a moment, Jiang Yang stared at the notice before shaking his head with an amused smile. Looking at the corpses nearby, he chuckled. "You actually carried your own wanted posters with you." He casually tossed the notice onto the ground before giving the bodies one final glance. A trace of disdain appeared in his eyes. "But I won't dirty my hands by taking money earned through people like you." So, all that swagger was completely meaningless. Even after discovering that the two men were notorious fugitives, Jiang Yang had no interest in taking the wealth they had gained through robbery and murder. To him, money stained with innocent blood was worthless. However, while searching through their belongings, he finally found something that caught his attention. A faint smile appeared on his face. "At least they had one piece of equipment I can actually use." At that moment, a system window appeared before him, displaying the item's attributes in detail. At first glance, the equipment looked plain and unremarkable. Jiang Yang examined it carefully before smiling. "It looks ordinary enough. Time to turn trash into treasure." He immediately activated his unique ability. Activate skill modification. The equipment instantly began to transform. The attributes displayed on the system panel rapidly changed one after another. As the modification skill reshaped the item into something far more powerful, waves of energy rippled across its surface, continuously improving its quality. When the process was complete, Jiang Yang picked up the upgraded piece of equipment and put it on. Feeling the increase in power, He nodded with satisfaction, just as I expected. Whenever I upgrade an item to legendary quality, unexpected changes always occur. He carefully examined the new design that had appeared on the coat. The pattern is a poison boar fiend sigil. It's not top tier, but it's still pretty good. Then another thought crossed his mind, and his expression softened. I'll take this home as a surprise for my sister. As he thought about returning home, his attention shifted to something even more important. The college entrance examination is about to begin. His eyes filled with determination. This time, it's my turn to amaze everyone. In his previous life, he had watched others rise to fame while he remained unnoticed. This time would be different. This time, he would become the center of attention. He would stand above everyone else. Soon afterward, Jiang Yang returned home carrying several bags. The moment he walked inside, he called out, "Yao, come give me a hand." Hearing her brother's voice, Jiang Yao quickly came over. The moment she saw the pile of clothes and equipment he had brought back, her eyes widened in shock. "Bro, where did you get all of this?" Jiang Yang smiled as he showed her the collection. "There are plenty of outfits. And this one is a powerful piece of armor." Jiang Yao stared at everything in complete disbelief. To her, the amount of equipment was almost unimaginable. Seeing her reaction, Jiang Yang laughed. "Of course your brother earned all of it fair and square." Then he suddenly remembered something. "Oh, right. Starting this month, I'm increasing your allowance." Jiang Yao immediately waved her hands in panic. No, 50 is already enough for me." Jiang Yang shook his head without hesitation. "No way. Starting this month, you'll get 500. And if that's still not enough, just ask your brother anytime." Hearing that amount, Jiang Yao looked at him in disbelief. The increase was so enormous that she couldn't help wondering where all the money had come from. Noticing the countless questions on her face, Jiang Yang gently patted her head and smiled. "Stop letting your imagination run wild. Tomorrow is my college entrance exam pep rally. With my current level, I'll just show up and come straight back. When I get home tomorrow evening, I'll take you out for a nice meal." His casual confidence immediately caught her attention. Curious, Jiang Yao asked, "Brother, what level are you now?" Without hesitation, Jiang Yang replied, "Level 20. The answer instantly left her speechless. Reaching level 20 in such a short period of time was an achievement very few people could accomplish. Meanwhile, Jiang Yang continued thinking about the future. The college entrance examination is usually held about a month after everyone awakens. I only managed to reach level 20 this quickly because I happened to defeat a few level 20 outlaws. Without targeted resources and support, even for me, it would have been difficult. But once I become Nanyang City's top scorer, everything will change." His eyes shone with confidence. Becoming the city's top scorer would grant him access to resources, opportunities, and connections far beyond anything he currently possessed. It would be the first major step toward completely changing his destiny. The next scene showed Jiang Yang standing atop a tall building. A powerful wind swept across the city as he gazed into the distance. Far above, a massive dimensional rift hung in the sky like a scar splitting two worlds apart. Beyond it lay countless dangers, opportunities, and endless possibilities. Looking directly at the rift, Jiang Yang clenched his fists. College entrance examination. Here I come. The scene then shifted to the gymnasium of Nan No. 1 Middle School, where every student stood neatly lined up. The principal stood on the stage, delivering his speech as a tense atmosphere filled the hall. The annual college entrance examination was finally approaching. Looking across the students, the principal announced, "The annual college entrance examination is almost here. You are the pride and hope of Nan No. 1 Middle School." He reminded everyone that after more than 10 years of relentless study and preparation, the opportunity to completely change their destiny now stood right before them. Standing quietly among the students, Jiang Yang listened silently. He couldn't help thinking, the principal is repeating the same speech everyone has heard countless times. But for the awakened, every word is true. For us, the college entrance examination really is the greatest opportunity to change our future. As Jiang Yang continued reflecting, he explained that every awakened person would ultimately walk one of 4 different paths, depending entirely on their performance in the college entrance examination. The first path belonged to those who achieved outstanding results and earned admission into the nation's finest universities. Students who followed the first path had an extremely high chance of becoming trailblazers in the future, exploring the dangerous Demon Lair world. They would receive full support from the government, including abundant cultivation resources, elite training, and countless opportunities. With that level of backing, their future was almost limitless. The second path was for students who performed well but failed to earn admission into the top universities. They could choose to join the military and serve as garrison soldiers stationed in territories occupied by demon lairs. Even they would receive government support along with valuable cultivation resources. If they continued growing stronger and proved themselves in battle, they could eventually rise through the ranks and become respected military commanders. The third path belonged to awakened individuals whose results were only average but still good enough to enter ordinary universities. Most of them would eventually become members of the Guardian Knights. Instead of national-level support, they would receive assistance from local governments, and the cultivation resources available to them would be much more limited. Even so, for people with average talent, this was already considered an excellent future. The fourth and final path, however, awaited those who lacked sufficient strength and failed the examination entirely. They would return to living ordinary lives inside the cities, with little hope of ever achieving another major breakthrough. In reality, this final outcome was the destiny of the overwhelming majority. Only about 20% of all awakened were capable of securing one of the first three paths. The remaining 80% were destined to remain ordinary and unknown. This was the harsh reality of the world after the Demon Lair invasion. It was a society built upon strict hierarchy and ruthless competition, where strength determined everything. Anyone without enough power could be eliminated in the blink of an eye. After reflecting on the cruel nature of this world, Jiang Yang returned his attention to the stage. The principal finished his speech and looked across the gathered students before making one final announcement. My speech ends here. Next, each homeroom teacher will begin screening their students. Anyone who has already reached level 15 or above will be exempt from the preliminary school examination. With those words, the screening process officially began. The atmosphere inside the gymnasium instantly grew tense. Every student below level 15 became nervous and anxious. They knew their future was about to be decided. Some looked worried. Others silently prayed that they would somehow pass the examination. Despite the tension surrounding him, Jiang Yang stood there with a calm smile. He quietly reflected, I never experienced this in my previous life because I was taken away before it happened. But I already know exactly how this process works. As long as a student's level exceeds level 15, they're automatically recognized as an outstanding talent. Looking at the situation before him, Jiang Yang calmly concluded, It seems I probably won't need to participate in the preliminary test either. Just then, their training instructor stepped forward and began announcing the results. Our class has a total of 5 students who have already reached level 15 or above. A brief pause followed. However, only 4 of them will receive an exemption. The instructor then looked directly at Jiang Yang. Jiang Yang, although you've already surpassed level 15, you'll still be required to participate in the preliminary examination. The reason is simple. You are not a combat class, and your class is only F rank. So you are an exception. The moment those words were spoken, whispers immediately spread throughout the students. Many classmates looked at Jiang Yang with mocking expressions. His longtime rival couldn't hide his satisfaction. He sneered loudly. This is exactly the treatment an F rank deserves. An F rank is nothing but worthless trash. Even after hearing those insults, Jiang Yang showed no trace of anger. Before the situation could escalate any further, the training instructor walked over to him and spoke gently. Don't lose heart. I know better than anyone how outstanding you really are. Unfortunately, this is the school's decision. As a teacher, I don't have the authority to change it. Hearing those sincere words, Jiang Yang simply smiled. There wasn't the slightest hint of disappointment on his face. I understand. If this is the school's decision, then I'll participate in the preliminary examination without any complaints. His calm response only made his rival even more confused. Watching Jiang Yang remain so relaxed, he couldn't understand how someone in that situation could stay so composed. Just then, a loud whistle echoed throughout the gymnasium. An announcement immediately sounded through the speakers. The preliminary school examination has officially begun. The announcement explained that the preliminary examination served as an internal screening held by every high school before the official college entrance examination. Only the final winner would earn the right to compete in the real college entrance examination. The elimination rate was as high as 90%. It was one of the cruelest selection systems imaginable, where only the strongest and most capable students advanced while everyone else was left behind. The competition soon got underway. Before long, another announcement echoed through the arena. Class 9's Zhang Shu wins Group 8. As battle after battle continued, the principal and vice principal stood together in the observation area, quietly watching every match unfold. The vice principal shook his head and remarked, It's already been a full month since everyone awakened. Even after an entire month had passed since everyone awakened, many students still hadn't reached level 15. In the vice principal's opinion, there wasn't much to expect from their future. Most of them had only awakened D rank or E rank classes, while many others possessed crafting classes that weren't suited for combat at all. After listening to those remarks, the principal calmly replied, "This year is different." He reminded the vice principal of Jiang Yang, the student who had ranked first in both academics and martial arts for 3 consecutive years. "Do you still remember Jiang Yang?" The vice principal nodded immediately. "Of course I remember him. I once had extremely high hopes for that boy." He sighed deeply. But who could have imagined that such an outstanding student would awaken an F-rank class? He continued, "You already know what an F rank truly represents. In the past, E rank was considered the lowest awakened class. But as the number of awakened increased, some incredibly weak crafting classes began to appear. Their abilities were so poor that they were originally classified as trash rank. Later, the authorities decided that name was too insulting, so they officially renamed it F rank. No matter how talented Jiang Yang was in academics and martial arts, the gap in class quality is simply too great. It's impossible for him to compete with the others." The principal listened quietly before answering with complete confidence. "Never judge someone solely by the rank of their class." He continued, "Lord Huo Yuan will also awaken an F-rank class. Yet he still rose all the way to become a level 70 venerable. So never underestimate anyone, especially someone as hardworking and determined as Jiang Yang." At that moment, the long-awaited announcement echoed throughout the arena. "Participants of Group 17, please step forward." This was Jiang Yang's group. When his name was called, he calmly walked into the arena. Every other participant immediately drew their weapons and prepared for battle. They stood facing one another, ready for a fierce fight. However, Jiang Yang did something no one expected. Instead of facing his opponents, he casually turned his back toward them. "It's finally my turn." He quietly recalled the promise he had made to his sister that he would take her out for a nice meal. Smiling to himself, he had no intention of wasting unnecessary time here. The students watching from outside immediately recognized him. "That's Jiang Yang. He's currently at the top of the rankings. He's a true genius." Another student added, "He's already reached level 20. Someone else quickly reminded everyone, "Don't forget, even if his level is high, he only awakened an F-rank class." After a brief discussion, the contestants came up with a plan. "Let's work together. We'll eliminate Jiang Yang first. Then we'll decide the winner among ourselves." Hearing their strategy, Jiang Yang remained completely calm. He looked at them confidently and said, "Come at me together." His words instantly enraged everyone. "We're all combat classes. There's no way we'll lose to one person." The battle officially began. Jiang Yang activated his storage ring and instantly summoned his sword into his hand. Looking at their equipment, he smiled. "Your weapons are pretty mediocre. The gear I obtained from Poison Dragon Valley is on a completely different level. You should have spent your money on better weapons." Before anyone could react, both the principal and the vice principal were left speechless. Only two thoughts filled their minds. He has a storage ring, and that sword. It's clearly an A-rank weapon. Without giving anyone time to recover from the shock, Jiang Yang suddenly dashed forward. His speed was so astonishing that he instantly passed straight through the entire group. The audience stared in disbelief. People immediately began discussing the incredible movement technique he had just displayed. None of them had ever witnessed such terrifying speed. Jiang Yang calmly walked past every opponent before stopping behind them. Then he spoke in a relaxed tone. "You've already lost." One of the students immediately protested. "Your speed may be incredible, but none of us are injured. So how could we possibly have lost?" Jiang Yang smiled calmly. "Is that so?" The moment those words left his mouth, every weapon held by his opponents split apart simultaneously. Each blade had been cleanly severed. None of them had even noticed when it happened. During the brief instant Jiang Yang rushed past them, he had already completed every strike. Seeing their shattered weapons, one student's body began trembling. If he had actually wanted to kill us, we would have all died." Realizing the overwhelming gap in strength, every participant willingly admitted defeat. Moments later, the official announcement echoed throughout the arena. Jiang Yang of Class 1 wins the Group 17 match. As Jiang Yang calmly walked out of the arena, he quietly reflected, "Now that I've won the preliminary examination, the official college entrance examination will begin in just 3 days. I can finally go home and treat my sister to the meal I promised her." He was also satisfied for another reason. This battle had given him the perfect opportunity to openly reveal the Qinggang sword. Now that everyone had already seen him using it in public, no one would question where it came from or try to cause trouble over it. Watching Jiang Yang leave the arena, the vice principal shook his head in amazement. That boy truly is different. The principal smiled. He continued confidently. Even Lord Huo Yuanwu wasn't this remarkable when he was young. The vice principal silently agreed. Looking toward the arena once more, the principal smiled and said, Nan, no, one middle school has never produced the city's top scorer. But perhaps, this year, history will finally be rewritten. After that, another announcement echoed throughout the venue as the results of the preliminary school examination were announced. Group 68, Jiang Yang from Class 24 wins. The preliminary school examination has officially ended. A total of 68 students have advanced. Soon afterward, everyone who had qualified was directed to the winner's waiting area. The successful participants quietly took their seats, and Jiang Yang was among them. However, instead of celebrating, he remained completely calm. Countless thoughts raced through his mind as he silently calculated the scale of the competition that lay ahead. Nanrong, number 1. Middle school has more than 1,000 students. There were 68 groups in this grade, meaning around 680 students took part in the preliminary examination. Even after that, more than 400 students are still eligible to participate in the college entrance examination. Adding the 68 students who advanced through this round, nearly 500 graduates from No. 1 middle school alone will be competing. Nanrong City has a total of 19 high schools. That means the number of participants in this year's college entrance examination will be close to 10,000. Just imagining the sheer number of competitors made him realize how difficult the road ahead would be. Claiming first place against nearly 10,000 talented students was far from easy. It would require overwhelming strength, unwavering determination, and flawless performance, because even the smallest mistake could cost him everything. While Jiang Yang was still deep in thought, someone quietly walked over and sat beside him. When he turned his head, he was surprised to see that it was the principal himself. It's the principal. Why is he sitting here? Jiang Yang wondered. Before he could ask anything, the principal smiled warmly and said, Relax. You've ranked first in both academic studies and martial arts for the past 3 years. I've personally presented awards to you several times. There's no need to look so surprised. Jiang Yang respectfully smiled and replied, You're not only our principal, but also one of the 12 guardian deities of Nanrong City. It's only natural for a student to be surprised when someone like you suddenly comes over and sits beside him. The principal laughed before giving Jiang Yang a friendly pat on the shoulder. You really know how to talk, kid. I like that kind of flattery. But do you know what would make me even happier? Bring the title of top scorer back to Nanrong No 1 Middle School. Although his tone was lighthearted, the hope in his eyes was completely genuine. Those words left Jiang Yang stunned. Looking at the principal in disbelief, he asked, This graduating class alone has 3 S-rank combat class awakeners and 6 A-rank combat class awakeners. Are you really that confident in me? To anyone else, such confidence would have sounded unreasonable. However, the principal didn't hesitate for even a second. He smiled calmly before answering, So what if you're only F-rank? As one of the 12 guardian deities of Nanrong City, I'm only C-rank myself. He continued, Never forget this. It's always the person who becomes strong, not the class. Humanity's greatest strength has never been talent or rank. It's the courage to draw your sword against any powerful opponent, no matter how impossible the battle may seem. Hearing those powerful words, Jiang Yang was deeply moved. This principle truly is different from the other powerhouses. In my previous life, I never had many opportunities to interact with him. But now, I realize he never judged me because of my modified talent. A deep sense of respect naturally rose within Jiang Yang's heart. Looking at the principal with determination, he said, Thank you for your guidance, principal. I'll give this competition everything I have, and I promise I'll do my absolute best to bring the top scorer title back to Nanrong No 1 Middle School. The principal smiled with satisfaction. Good. That's the spirit. He raised his fist toward Jiang Yang. Let's make a promise. Come on, give me a fist bump. A promise between men. Without any hesitation, Jiang Yang raised his own fist and bumped it firmly against the principal's. Their promise was sealed with unwavering determination as both of them looked ahead toward the challenges waiting for them. The heartfelt exchange immediately caught the attention of the other students nearby who had been quietly watching everything unfold. From a distance, several students watched the scene with puzzled expressions, while others couldn't resist making jokes. What are those two doing? Why are they getting so fired up? Are they made of white phosphorus or something? Do they just burst into flames the moment they're exposed to air? The principal is already so old, yet he's still so passionate. No wonder Nanrong No. One middle school hasn't produced a top scorer in years. Although the students laughed among themselves, neither Jiang Yang nor the principal paid any attention to their comments. Both of them understood that a genuine promise didn't require anyone else's approval. After leaving the school, Jiang Yang quietly thought to himself, I promised my sister I'd treat her to a nice meal. Since the official college entrance examination begins tomorrow, tonight is the perfect chance for us to relax. Ever since our parents passed away, we've lived on a tight budget and rarely had the opportunity to enjoy a special meal. Remembering everything they had gone through together only strengthened his determination to keep that promise and give his sister one memorable evening before the biggest day of his life. A short while later, the siblings arrived in front of an elegant, luxurious restaurant that was far beyond anything they would normally visit. The magnificent building, sparkling lights, and beautifully decorated entrance immediately left Jiang Yang's sister speechless. Looking around nervously, she asked, Brother, we've never eaten at a place like this before. Are we really going to dine here? Maybe we should just go back. She knew very well how expensive restaurants like this were and didn't want her brother spending so much money on her. Jiang Yang smiled confidently. This is the place. His answer only made her even more anxious. I've seen this restaurant online, she said. It's extremely popular and very expensive. From what I know, you can only eat here if you make a reservation in advance. Jiang Yang simply took out his phone and showed her the reservation. Your brother planned everything ahead of time, he said with a smile. I booked our seats long ago. Come on, let's go inside. Seeing how carefully he had prepared everything, her heart warmed. Brother put so much thought into this. I shouldn't ruin his mood. As they walked toward the restaurant, she silently comforted herself. Even though this place is incredibly expensive, brother gave me some money before. As long as I manage it carefully over the next few months, our living expenses should still be enough. Besides, he has the college entrance examination tomorrow. Tonight, I just want him to relax and enjoy himself. She knew better than anyone how hard her brother had worked, and she didn't want him worrying about money on such an important night. The moment they stepped inside, a waitress greeted them with a warm smile. Good evening. Would you like to order from the menu, or would you prefer one of our recommended set meals? Without even glancing at the menu, Jiang Yang calmly replied, We'll have set meal C. I already know it includes all of your signature dishes. The waitress nodded politely. Certainly. Please wait just a moment. As she walked away, she couldn't help thinking. They look like ordinary customers, but they're actually willing to spend quite a bit. Meanwhile, Jiang Yang quietly sipped a glass of water while his sister nervously looked through the menu. A moment later, she turned toward him with wide eyes. Brother, the set meal C you ordered. Isn't this the most expensive set on the menu? Jiang Yang nodded without hesitation. That's right, and if there's anything else you'd like to eat, don't hold back. Order whatever you want. Hearing him casually suggest ordering even more food left her completely stunned. 2,980. That's almost 10 months worth of living expenses for our family. Brother didn't suddenly get rich by doing something illegal. Did he? Just then, the peaceful atmosphere inside the restaurant was shattered as several noisy students barged through the entrance. Hey, what do you mean we can't eat here without a reservation? We've got the college entrance examination tomorrow. Get us a table right now. A waiter quickly stepped forward and politely tried to calm them down. Sir, we're very sorry, but our restaurant only accepts customers with reservations. However, the young man named Wang had no intention of listening. He pointed aggressively at the staff and shouted, Cut the nonsense. Get a table ready for my brothers right now, or I'll smash this entire place. Seeing the waitress who had taken their order being threatened, Jiang Yang's sister looked worried. Brother, the waitress who served us is being harassed by those thugs. Jiang Yang glanced toward the commotion. His expression instantly turned cold before he calmly looked away. In a calm yet disdainful voice, he said, Are all the seniors from Nanrong No One middle school this kind of trash? Wang immediately turned toward Jiang Yang with an angry glare. What did you just say? One of Wang's companions stepped forward with a sneer. Say that again if you've got the guts. Then he looked at Jiang Yang more carefully before smirking. Oh, so it's you, the famous F-rank Jiang Yang from Nanrong No One middle school. There are barely any F-rank trash left in all of Nanrong City, yet somehow we managed to run into one here. Do you want to find out how powerful the fists of my C-rank combat class really are? The group laughed arrogantly, convinced they could easily intimidate Jiang Yang. However, Jiang Yang remained completely calm, as though none of their threats meant anything to him. After listening to all of Wang's insults, Jiang Yang casually picked up the glass of water in front of him and deliberately poured it over Wang's face. He then looked at him with a perfectly calm expression and said, "Sorry, my hand slipped." Those simple words completely shattered Wang's patience. His face twisted with rage as he immediately activated his combat class ability. His arm rapidly transformed while he roared, "You actually dared to splash water on me? I'll smash your face." Seeing Wang charge forward, Jiang Yang's sister turned pale with fear. "Brother, watch out." Just as Wang's transformed fist was about to land, someone suddenly appeared between them. A powerful hand seized Wang's arm with such overwhelming strength that he couldn't move even an inch. An angry voice echoed throughout the restaurant. "Wang Jie, what the hell are you doing?" Wang froze the moment he recognized the newcomer. His expression changed instantly. "Brother Tao, why are you here?" Jiang Yang recognized him as well. It was Lu Tao, a B-rank combat class powerhouse and one of the strongest students capable of ranking within the top 50 of Nanrong No. 7 Middle School. Thinking Lu Tao to come to support him, Wang hurriedly explained, "Brother Tao, I'm just teaching this F-rank trash from Nanrong No. 1 Middle School a lesson. Don't worry, I'll make him understand his place." Before Wang could finish speaking, Lu Tao violently shoved him backward, sending him stumbling several steps away. Then he shouted with murderous intent, "You dare raise your hand against Brother Jiang? Do you have a death wish?" Wang was completely stunned. He stared at Lu Tao in disbelief before hurriedly saying, "Brother Tao, you must be mistaken. He's just an F-rank trash from Nanrong No. 1 Middle School." At that moment, another calm voice came from behind them. "He's not mistaken. If I had arrived even a little later, your hand would already be crippled." Everyone turned toward the entrance, and their expressions changed instantly. The moment Wang and his companions recognized the newcomer, they were so shocked that they nearly stopped breathing. "Young Master Lu." Wang's heart pounded wildly. Lu Yuan, the S-rank combat class genius and one of the top 3 students of Nanrong No. 7 Middle School. Why is he here? Meanwhile, Jiang Yang simply looked at him and smiled. "What a coincidence." Lu Yuan frowned slightly before replying, "Don't call me by my real name like that." Hearing such a casual conversation left Wang and all of his companions completely dumbfounded. They stared at Jiang Yang in utter disbelief. The person they had mocked as worthless was speaking to the young master of the Lu family as though they were close friends. Jiang Yang then glanced at Wang and the others before calmly saying, "It seems the students of your No. 7 Academy were never taught proper manners." The moment those words were spoken, Wang and his companions felt a chill run down their spines. They could no longer understand what was happening. The F-rank student they had looked down upon was speaking fearlessly in front of Lu Yuan, while Lu Tao was openly protecting him. Their hearts filled with confusion and fear as they silently wondered, what exactly is going on here? Even after everything that had happened, Wang still couldn't understand it. He's just an F-rank nobody. How is he talking to an S-rank powerhouse like they're old friends? Who is this guy? The more he thought about it, the more confused and frustrated he became. Jiang Yang, however, couldn't have cared less. Looking at the group with complete indifference, he said calmly, "Whatever. I don't have the energy to waste on you. Apologize to the waitress, then get out of my sight." The instant those words left his mouth, all 3 of them immediately lowered their heads and answered, "Yes, Boss Jiang." Without hesitation, they rushed over to the waitress, bowed deeply, and sincerely apologized. "We're truly sorry. Please forgive us for causing such a disturbance." The waitress simply smiled and replied, "It's all right. Just remember to make a reservation next time." Completely embarrassed, the 3 men turned around and fled from the restaurant as fast as they could. Watching them disappear, the waitress smiled to herself. Judging by the look on their faces, I doubt they'll ever come back here again. Once the awkward situation had finally ended, Lu Yuan smiled at Jiang Yang and said, "Fancy meeting you here. But I'd be much happier if we met during the city's college entrance exam finals." Jiang Yang answered without missing a beat, "Then you'd better work hard. If you can't even make it to the finals, how are you supposed to face me?" His confident response only ignited Lu Yuan's competitive spirit even further. Grinning, he pointed at Jiang Yang and declared, "Just wait until the finals. We'll see who's the one that doesn't make the cut." Hearing the challenge, Jiang Yang smiled to himself. Although Lu Yuan was his rival, he wasn't a bad person at all. Rather than holding any resentment, Jiang Yang respected his determination and fighting spirit. Just then, the waitress returned to their table with a warm smile. "Sorry for the wait. Here's your premium chuck roll set." One dish after another was carefully placed on the table until it was completely covered with an incredible assortment of beautifully prepared, high-quality food. Seeing the feast before him, Jiang Yang smiled in satisfaction. Across the table, Xiao Yao's eyes sparkled with excitement as she admired the luxurious meal. Just hearing the names of these dishes is making my mouth water. These are the ridiculously expensive ingredients I've only ever seen on social media. This is unbelievable. Back when I was a lab rat in my previous life, I never had the chance to taste anything like this. Freedom is amazing. I'm so lucky to have a big brother who treats me to food like this. She happily enjoyed every bite, unable to hide her excitement. At that moment, the expressions on Jiang Yang's and Xiao Yao's faces were nearly identical. Both wore satisfied smiles as they enjoyed the delicious meal together. While they continued eating, Jiang Yang glanced at his sister and asked, "Xiao Yao, aren't you curious about who those people were or how I know them?" Without even looking up from her food, Xiao Yao casually replied, "It doesn't matter who they are. No matter what happens or who you become, you'll always be my big brother." Her simple yet heartfelt answer caught Jiang Yang completely by surprise. He sat quietly for a moment before a gentle smile appeared on his face. This is what family truly means. This is exactly what I'm fighting to protect in this life. No matter what it takes, I'll protect this world and the people I care about. The scene then shifted to the long-awaited day of the Nan City College entrance examination. Deep inside Nan City's Demon Rift, the atmosphere was filled with excitement and tension as countless students gathered for the most important day of their lives. A citywide announcement echoed throughout the examination grounds. The annual college entrance examination officially begins today. Every one of you is a 1 in 100 talent. This is the day that will determine your future. The powerful announcement instantly lifted everyone's spirits, reminding them that years of hard work would finally be put to the test. The scene then moved to the preliminary examination plaza, where thousands of candidates were waiting for the exam to begin. Looking around at the crowd, Jiang Yang smiled to himself. Funny, we've all spent the last 3 years wearing school uniforms, yet today everyone decided to wear something else. I'm the only one still in mine. He glanced down at his uniform and continued thinking. After all, I promised the principal that I'd bring the top scorer title back to our school. Besides, if I don't wear my uniform, how will anyone know which school I'm representing? With that thought, he stood proudly among the crowd, wearing his school uniform without the slightest trace of embarrassment. A moment later, the chief announcer stepped forward and explained the rules of the preliminary examination. The rules for this year's preliminary exam are simple. Hunt the demonic beasts inside the occupied Demon Rift Zone. You'll earn points based on the strength of every demonic beast you defeat. As soon as the rules were announced, everyone understood that there would be no written exams or complicated challenges. The entire test would be decided through real combat against demonic beasts, with every kill contributing to each student's final score and ranking. The person in charge of the examination was introduced as Lu Shen, the chief examiner of Nan City Awakener High School. Speaking in a clear and authoritative voice, Lu Shen continued explaining the rules. The top 100 students on the leaderboard will advance to the finals. The sensor bracelets you've been issued will automatically calculate the point value of every beast based on its aura. You will have 6 hours to complete the exam, so choosing your targets wisely is an important part of your strategy. I wish all of you the best of luck. As soon as his final words echoed across the square, the massive gates slowly opened, and the countdown timer began. In an instant, excitement erupted throughout the crowd as every participant sprinted toward the entrance, determined to secure a place among the top 100. Some students confidently declared that one of those spots already belonged to them, while others boldly claimed that they would conquer the areas filled with the strongest monsters. Everyone was overflowing with confidence, eager to prove they deserved a place in the finals. Meanwhile, Jiang Yang calmly walked through the crowd, completely unaffected by the excitement around him. The rules sound simple, he thought, but there's much more to them than meets the eye. First of all, the exam location couldn't be more suitable. They've chosen the Sinister Demon Forest, which is the perfect testing ground. The monsters here range from level 15 to level 25. Unlike Poison Dragon Valley, there aren't any terrifying boss-class monsters hiding here. On top of that, the wide variety of monster species means their combat abilities differ greatly, making this an ideal place to evaluate a large number of students fairly. While everyone else focused solely on rushing ahead to earn points, Jiang Yang was already analyzing the reasoning behind the exam's design. Moments later, all the examinees were teleported into the Sinister Demon Forest. The endless forest stretched in every direction, filled with towering ancient trees and a heavy, ominous atmosphere. Even after arriving inside the rift, Jiang Yang remained completely calm. Those lingering auras belonged to Nan City's strongest paragons, he thought as he sensed immense waves of power spread throughout the forest. They're stationed here to prevent high-level beasts from approaching the exam area. After all, this is only a college entrance examination. There's no way they'd risk the students' lives. A faint smile appeared on his face as memories from his previous life resurfaced. I never took the college entrance exam back then, but I practically lived in this place while those top-tier powerhouses trained me. I know this forest like the back of my hand. Not long after entering the forest, a warrior suddenly shouted to the nearby students. The rules never said we couldn't form teams. Anyone interested in making a hunting party? Sure, we'll have to split the points, but we'll clear monsters much faster. As soon as he made the suggestion, several students quickly gathered around him. I'm a level 16 healer. Please let me join. Another student stepped forward and announced his own class and level. More and more examinees rushed over, eager to become part of the group. Everyone understood that surviving and earning points would be much easier with a balanced team. At that moment, a young girl walked over to Jiang Yang and asked curiously, "So what's your class?" Without the slightest hesitation, Jiang Yang answered, "I'm an F-rank farmer." The moment she heard his reply, her expression changed completely. Without saying another word, she immediately turned around and hurried back to the warriors' group. The other students looked at her in confusion, and she awkwardly laughed before saying, "I was only asking as a joke." The group quickly began discussing Jiang Yang among themselves. If we let someone like him join us, he'll only slow everyone down. An F-rank farmer would just hold the entire team back. None of them had any interest in accepting him. However, Jiang Yang had never intended to join their party in the first place. Completely ignoring their comments, he calmly walked past them and continued deeper into the forest. As he followed the mountain trail, a faint smile appeared on his face. Being an F-rank really does make people look down on you. Honestly, I'm getting used to it. Besides, shocking everyone after they underestimate me has always been my specialty. His confidence never wavered for even a moment. Reaching the bottom of the slope, Jiang Yang slowly drew his sword from its sheath. His eyes burned with determination as he looked straight ahead and declared, "The name Jiang Yang will become legendary in this examination." The scene then shifted to the Nan City College entrance exam observation room, where principals from every academy had gathered to watch their students compete in real time. Massive screens displayed the battlefield, while a live leaderboard continuously updated each participant's score. Watching the competition with excitement, the principal of Third High School smiled and said, "I can't wait to see how intense today's competition becomes. The gap between first and second place has been incredibly small over the past few years." Sitting nearby, the principal of 7th High School replied proudly, "Our school produced 4 S-rank prodigies this year. I'm afraid the city's top scorer will once again come from 7th High." Hearing his boast, First High School's principal responded with a calm but confident smile. "You may have an A-rank class yourself, but I don't see you being any stronger than I am. Judging someone's potential solely by their class rank is the act of a fool." The principal of 7th High laughed dismissively before replying, "Are you talking about that F-rank trash from your school? The one who somehow managed to stay at the top in both academics and combat for 3 straight years? Don't tell me you actually believe he can become this year's top scorer." Before First High's principal could answer, the principal of Third High nodded in agreement. "That's right. Class rank isn't everything, but an F rank doesn't even deserve to be mentioned alongside the rest." Those words instantly infuriated Jiang Yang's principal. Slamming his hand onto the table, he shouted, "That's complete nonsense, and you know it. That student of mine broke multiple records at the novice training base. He's going to leave all of you speechless. Just wait and see." Despite his confidence, the other 2 principals simply laughed even harder. Neither of them took his words seriously and continued mocking both Jiang Yang and First High School without the slightest concern. However, only moments later, something completely unexpected happened. The leaderboard suddenly refreshed. The entire observation room fell silent. Every principal stared at the giant screen in complete disbelief. Seeing the updated rankings, Jiang Yang's principal couldn't hide his excitement. "You're incredible, you little brat." Meanwhile, the other 2 principals could only stare at the leaderboard in shock. How? How is an F-rank student capable of something like this? They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The camera focused on the leaderboard, where Jiang Yang had already accumulated 36 points, placing him firmly in first place. The scene then returned to Jiang Yang, who stood calmly beside the massive corpse of a defeated monster as he pulled his sword from the beast's body. Smiling to himself, he said, "Now that's some good luck, finding a level 20 beast the moment the exam starts." He looked ahead and spotted 3 more monsters waiting in his path. Without the slightest trace of fear, he raised his sword once more, smiled confidently, and declared, "Looks like I'll be gladly accepting the points from you 3 as well."